My child, wait. Do not move yet. Before you scroll, before you decide this is not for you, hear me, because this moment is not accidental, and these words were not placed in your path by chance. I am speaking to you now, right where you are, because your heart is heavier than you admit and more tired than you allow yourself to feel. I am not asking for your day, your strength, or your understanding. I am asking for 1 minute. 1 minute that could steady what has been shaking, soften what has been guarded, and restore what has been running on empty. Stay with me. Listen slowly. Let every word read you. Do not rush past this pause. What unfolds next is not just a message, it is an invitation. And how you respond will matter more than you realize. My beloved child, I am not shouting to stop you, and I am not chasing you down with urgency born of fear. I am interrupting you gently, the way a loving father places his hand on his child's shoulder when he senses that the child is about to walk past something precious without realizing it. I know your mind is already halfway to the next task, the next thought, the next distraction pulling at your attention. I know how quickly the world trains you to move, to scroll, to decide that nothing deserves more than a glance. But hear me now, not with your ears alone, but with the deeper place inside you that still knows my voice. I am asking you to pause, not because you owe me something, not because I am lacking without you, but because you are lacking rest, clarity, and peace, and I know where they are found. You have become so accustomed to noise that silence feels uncomfortable. You have become so used to urgency that stillness feels unproductive. Yet I tell you, some of the most important things I ever do in your life happen in moments that look like nothing at all. This pause is not an interruption to your life. It is an invitation back into it. I am not trying to pull you away from something important. I am trying to keep you from missing what matters most. You have trained your heart to believe that love must shout to be real and that meaning must be dramatic to be true. But I often come quietly, because I am not competing with the world for your attention. I am waiting for your willingness. Even now, as you read these words, there is a soft resistance inside you that wants to say, I'll come back later. That resistance is not random. It is the tension between a weary soul and a healing it has not yet received. I am not offended by your hesitation. I understand it. You have been disappointed before. You have paused before and felt nothing change. But this moment is not about what you feel immediately. It is about what you allow. A gentle interruption can redirect an entire life if you let it. I am not demanding your future. I'm asking for your now. 1 minute is not small when it is given honestly. 1 minute is enough for me to remind you who you are, to steady what has been shaking inside you, to whisper truth where lies have grown loud. Do not underestimate the power of stopping. You have been running so long that you forgot you are allowed to rest without earning it. This is me standing in your path, not to block you, but to protect you from continuing forward while exhausted and unheard. And as you pause here, I want you to notice something gentle but profound. Nothing has gone wrong because you stopped. The world did not collapse. The demands did not disappear, but they also did not grow stronger. The only thing that has shifted is your awareness. That is how I begin healing you, not by changing everything around you first, but by changing what you are able to notice. I notice you. I notice the way your heart flinches when things slow down, because slowing down forces you to feel what you have been avoiding. I notice the quiet fear that says, if I stop, everything I've been holding together will fall apart. My child, hear me clearly. You are not the one holding everything together. You never were. I have watched you carry responsibilities that were never meant to sit on your shoulders. I have watched you confuse endurance with strength and survival with purpose. This interruption is not meant to expose you. It is meant to relieve you. You do not need to perform in this moment. You do not need the right words. You do not need to fix your thoughts before you sit with me. You only need to stay. That is all I ask. Stay long enough for your breathing to slow. Stay long enough for the noise inside your head to realize it is not in charge. Stay long enough to remember that you are not alone, not abandoned, not forgotten in the rush of the world. I am here, fully present, not divided, not distracted. I am not multitasking while listening to you. I am not rushing you toward a conclusion. I am simply with you. This is how a father teaches a child to trust again. By being steady, by being patient, by not leaving when the moment grows quiet. If you let me, this gentle interruption will become a doorway. Not into something dramatic, but into something true. Peace does not always arrive loudly. Sometimes it enters like a whisper and stays because you finally made room for it. So stay here. You are not behind. You are not late. You are exactly where you need to be right now. My beloved child, I need you to hear this slowly, not rushing past it as just another comforting idea, but letting it settle into the deepest place of your knowing. You are not here by accident. Not this moment. Not these words. Not this pause that has caught you unexpectedly. I did not stumble into your life, and you did not stumble into mine. Long before you reached for your phone, long before your eyes landed on these sentences, long before your heart felt that subtle pull to stop instead of move on, I was already here, waiting. The world calls moments like this coincidence. I call them convergence. I call them alignment. I call them love that refuses to stay silent. You have spent so much of your life believing you simply ended up in places, ended up tired, ended up disappointed, ended up questioning, ended up searching without knowing what you were searching for. But I tell you now, with a father's certainty and a creator's authority, nothing about this moment is random. I know the exact weight you have been carrying. I know the thoughts you did not finish out loud. I know the questions you asked into the quiet when no one was listening. And because I know, I intervened, not dramatically, not forcefully, but precisely. I placed this interruption in your path the way I always do, gently enough that you could ignore it, but clearly enough that your spirit would recognize it. That recognition you felt, the sense that this was different, that was not curiosity, that was memory. Something in you remembers me, even when your mind tries to forget. You were drawn here not because you were bored, but because your soul was tired of wandering without being named, seen, or answered. I allowed this crossing of paths because timing matters, and your heart has reached a moment where it can finally hear what it could not before. You are not late. You are not early. You are exactly on time. And listen to me now, because this is where truth begins to confront the lies you've been living under. You told yourself you were overlooked. You told yourself life just happened to you. You told yourself that if I truly cared, things would have looked different by now. But those conclusions were born out of pain, not truth. Pain speaks loudly, but it does not speak accurately. I have been watching you interpret silence as absence, delay as denial, and waiting as punishment. Yet all along, I was positioning you, protecting you, slowing you down when your desires would have rushed you into things your soul could not survive. You did not miss me. I paced myself for you. You did not fall behind. I held you back on purpose. Some paths were blocked because they would have broken you. Some doors stayed shut because you were not yet strong enough to walk through them without losing yourself. And now, here you are, at a moment that feels small on the surface but is heavy with meaning beneath it. This is how I often work with my children, not through spectacle, but through precision. Not through noise, but through knowing. I speak when the heart is soft enough to listen, not when the world is loud enough to impress. You may not see the full picture yet, but you are standing at a crossroads between distraction and direction. One leads you back into non-movement. The other leads you into awareness. That awareness begins here, with a realization that your life is not drifting, it is being guided. Even now, as doubt tries to whisper that this is just words, something deeper in you is steadying. That is not imagination. That is alignment. That is what happens when truth meets readiness. I did not bring you here to entertain you. I brought you here to remind you that you are known, and that knowledge changes everything. So stay with me a little longer, because what I am revealing now builds upon what I gently interrupted earlier. When I asked you to pause, it was not to trap you in stillness. It was to help you notice that I am already active in your life, even when you feel passive in it. You have been moving so fast that you mistook momentum for meaning. But meaning requires attention, and attention requires stopping long enough to realize you are being addressed. You are not anonymous to me. Your struggles have names. Your fears have context. Your endurance has been recorded. This moment exists because I value relationship more than routine. I could have let you scroll past, let you dismiss this as another passing thought. But love interrupts. Love insists. Love waits at intersections and speaks quietly, trusting that the one it loves will recognize its voice. I am not here to scare you into belief or pressure you into commitment. I am here to ground you in truth. Your life has intention. Your presence here has purpose, and this moment is part of a much larger conversation between you and me that did not begin today and will not end here. You are not lost. You are being led. And now that you know this is not an accident, you must decide whether you will keep treating it like one, or honor it for what it truly is. My child, let us speak honestly now, without pretense, without spiritual polish, without hiding behind what sounds noble but costs you everything. You give minutes away constantly. You give them to worry that drains you. You give them to fear that tightens your chest. You give them to scrolling, replaying, comparing, regretting, rehearsing conversations that never happen and outcomes you cannot control. Minutes slip from your hands like sand, and you rarely stop to ask what they are giving you in return. So I ask you gently, but directly, would you truly deny me 1 minute, when you have already surrendered so many to things that leave you empty? This is not accusation. This is contrast. Contrast sharpens vision. You have learned to tolerate what exhausts you and hesitate with what could restore you. That is not because you are weak. It is because you have been trained by a world that feeds on your attention and stars your soul. 1 minute with me feels costly because it threatens the illusion that everything depends on your constant movement. Stillness feels dangerous when you believe control keeps you safe. But I tell you now, control is not safety. It is a burden you were never meant to carry. The cost of 1 minute with me is not loss. It is surrender. And surrender frightens you because you have been hurt before. You learned to stay busy so you wouldn't have to feel. You learned to stay distracted so you wouldn't have to hope. But hope is a way of rising when you slow down, and hope makes you vulnerable. Yet vulnerability is not weakness in my presence. It is the doorway to healing. 1 minute with me does not take from you. It returns you to yourself. You have been measuring value by productivity for so long that rest feels undeserved. You have been measuring worth by output for so long that stillness feels lazy. But listen to me now and let repetition anchor this truth where it belongs. You are valuable before you do anything. You are worthy before you fix anything. You are loved before you prove anything. 1 minute with me is not a transaction. It is a relationship. I am not keeping score. I am not timing you with disappointment waiting at the end. I am inviting you to notice how much of your life is being spent on survival instead of connection. Survival keeps you alert. Connection keeps you alive. When you give me 1 minute, you are not neglecting your responsibilities. You are remembering who carries them with you. You have been giving your best energy to problems and your leftover energy to prayer. You have been giving your sharpest focus to fear and your faintest attention to my voice. And still, I am not offended. I am patient. But patience does not mean passivity. I am speaking now because this pattern is costing you more than you realize. It is costing you peace. It is costing you clarity. It is costing you the joy that comes from knowing you are not alone in the weight you carry. 1 minute seems small until you realize how rarely you are fully present anywhere. I am not asking for perfection. I am asking for presence. 1 minute of presence with me is more powerful than hours of distracted effort without me. So consider this moment carefully, not with fear, but with honesty. Ask yourself what denying me 1 minute truly protects. Does it protect your peace or your distractions? Does it guard your heart or keep it numb? You have learned to say later so many times that now feels unfamiliar. But later is where healing goes to wait, and sometimes it waits so long that the heart forgets how to receive. I am not threatening you with loss. I am revealing opportunity. Opportunities do not shout. They present themselves quietly and wait to be chosen. This is one of those moments. You can return to the noise, to the rush, to the illusion that you must carry everything alone. Or you can stay, just for 1 minute longer, and discover that the cost you feared was never real. The real cost has always been living disconnected from the one who knows you best. I am not asking for more than you can give. I am asking for less than you already spend. 1 minute. 1 honest pause. 1 willing breath. That is all it takes to begin shifting the weight you have been carrying for far too long. My beloved child, I see your hurry even when no one else does. I see how your body moves faster than your heart can keep up with. I see how your mind is always 3 steps ahead, rehearsing what's next before you've even arrived where you are. You call it productivity. You call it responsibility. You call it survival. But I call it exhaustion that has learned to disguise itself as momentum. You rush because stopping feels dangerous. You rush because slowing down would force you to feel what you've been outrunning for years. You rush because somewhere along the way you learned that being still meant being vulnerable, and being vulnerable once cost you something you never fully recovered from. I see the way you hurry through moments that were meant to hold you. I see how you eat without tasting, listen without hearing, rest without restoring. I see how you tell yourself, just get through this, as if life were something to be endured instead of inhabited. And yet, even as I see your hurry, I do not condemn you. I understand it. You did not become this way overnight. You were shaped by pressure, by expectation, by moments where no one slowed down to notice you. So you learned to move on before being overlooked again. But hear me now. With a father's tenderness and a father's truth, your hurry is not protecting you. It is draining you. It is thinning your joy. It is stealing depth from moments that were meant to nourish you. You believe that if you stop, you will fall behind. But the truth is this. You are already behind on rest, behind on peace, behind on listening to your own soul. You are not behind in life. You are ahead of yourself. And that gap between where your body is and where your heart is, that gap is where your weariness lives. And listen carefully, because this is where contrast reveals what hurry hides. The world praises speed. I honor presence. The world rewards reaction. I invite reflection. The world pushes you to keep up. I ask you to come close. Hurry makes you efficient, but it does not make you whole. You have mistaken movement for meaning and busyness for purpose. Yet some of the most sacred moments of your life have happened when everything slowed down, when time seemed to stretch, when your breathing softened, when your heart finally caught up to itself. Think back, my child. The moments that shaped you most were not right. Love was never right. Healing was never rushed. Truth was never rushed. Even creation itself unfolded with rhythm, with order, with intention, not haste. I did not create you to live at a pace that erodes your soul. I created you to walk with me, and walking requires rhythm, not sprinting. Your hurry tells me you are trying to manage life alone. It tells me you are carrying weight that was never meant to rest on your shoulders. When you slow down with me, you are not wasting time. You are returning the weight to where it belongs. You fear that if you pause, things will unravel. But what if the opposite is true? What if your life has felt so fragile because it has been stretched too thin by constant motion? What if stopping is not surrender to chaos, but surrender to care? I see your hurry, and I am not asking you to shame it. I am asking you to understand it, and then let it go. So, as I speak to you now, let my voice become slower than your thoughts. Let repetition calm what urgency has stirred. You do not need to rush through this moment. You do not need to hurry toward the end of this message. Nothing is chasing you here. Nothing is demanding immediate output. This is not another task to complete. This is a place to arrive. You have spent so long reacting that you forgot how to receive. Hurry keeps you alert. Presence keeps you alive. And I am inviting you, gently, firmly, lovingly, out of survival mode and back into relationship. I am not asking you to abandon your responsibilities. I am asking you to stop letting them define your worth. You are more than what you can keep up with. You are more than what you can accomplish in a day. You are my child. And children are meant to be noticed, not rushed past. Stay with me here. Let the pace change. Let your shoulders drop. Let your breath deepen. You are not late. You are not failing. You are simply tired. And I am here to meet you right in the middle of that truth. My precious child, hear this clearly, because urgency can sometimes distort love if you have known authority without tenderness. I am not demanding anything from you. I am not standing over you with a list of expectations, tapping my foot, waiting for you to prove your devotion. I am not measuring your worth by how quickly you respond or how perfectly you perform. I am not keeping score of how often you choose me over everything else. That is not how a father loves. That is how fear controls. And fear has already taken enough from you. I am inviting you, not commanding you. I am opening my arms, not tightening my grip. I know that language of demand triggers old wounds in you, voices that said love had conditions, affection had prerequisites, acceptance had to be earned. So let me be very clear and very gentle at the same time. You do not owe me this moment. I am offering it to you. I am offering myself to you. Love that demands is not love. It is leverage. And I do not leverage my love against you. I give it freely, fully, and without threat. When I say come, it is not because I am lacking without you. It is because I know you are weary without me. You have mistaken my invitations for ultimatums because you have been conditioned to expect disappointment when you hesitate. But I am not like those who pressured you. I am not like those who withdrew when you struggled. I am patient. My child, wait. Do not move yet. Before you scroll, before you decide this is not for you, hear me, because this moment is not accidental, and these words were not placed in your path by chance. I am speaking to you now, right where you are, because your heart is heavier than you admit and more tired than you allow yourself to feel. I am not asking for your day, your strength, or your understanding. I am asking for 1 minute. 1 minute that could steady what has been shaking, soften what has been guarded, and restore what has been running on empty. Stay with me. Listen slowly. Let every word read you. Do not rush past this pause. What unfolds next is not just a message, it is an invitation. And how you respond will matter more than you realize. My beloved child, I am not shouting to stop you, and I am not chasing you down with urgency born of fear. I am interrupting you gently, the way a loving father places his hand on his child's shoulder when he senses that the child is about to walk past something precious without realizing it. I know your mind is already halfway to the next task, the next thought, the next distraction pulling at your attention. I know how quickly the world trains you to move, to scroll, to decide that nothing deserves more than a glance. But hear me now, not with your ears alone, but with the deeper place inside you that still knows my voice. I am asking you to pause, not because you owe me something, not because I am lacking without you, but because you are lacking rest, clarity, and peace, and I know where they are found. You have become so accustomed to noise that silence feels uncomfortable. You have become so used to urgency that stillness feels unproductive. Yet I tell you, some of the most important things I ever do in your life happen in moments that look like nothing at all. This pause is not an interruption to your life. It is an invitation back into it. I am not trying to pull you away from something important. I am trying to keep you from missing what matters most. You have trained your heart to believe that love must shout to be real and that meaning must be dramatic to be true. But I often come quietly, because I am not competing with the world for your attention. I am waiting for your willingness. Even now, as you read these words, there is a soft resistance inside you that wants to say, I'll come back later. That resistance is not random. It is the tension between a weary soul and a healing it has not yet received. I am not offended by your hesitation. I understand it. You have been disappointed before. You have paused before and felt nothing change. But this moment is not about what you feel immediately. It is about what you allow. A gentle interruption can redirect an entire life if you let it. I am not demanding your future. I'm asking for your now. 1 minute is not small when it is given honestly. 1 minute is enough for me to remind you who you are, to steady what has been shaking inside you, to whisper truth where lies have grown loud. Do not underestimate the power of stopping. You have been running so long that you forgot you are allowed to rest without earning it. This is me standing in your path, not to block you, but to protect you from continuing forward while exhausted and unheard. And as you pause here, I want you to notice something gentle but profound. Nothing has gone wrong because you stopped. The world did not collapse. The demands did not disappear, but they also did not grow stronger. The only thing that has shifted is your awareness. That is how I begin healing you, not by changing everything around you first, but by changing what you are able to notice. I notice you. I notice the way your heart flinches when things slow down, because slowing down forces you to feel what you have been avoiding. I notice the quiet fear that says, if I stop, everything I've been holding together will fall apart. My child, hear me clearly. You are not the one holding everything together. You never were. I have watched you carry responsibilities that were never meant to sit on your shoulders. I have watched you confuse endurance with strength and survival with purpose. This interruption is not meant to expose you. It is meant to relieve you. You do not need to perform in this moment. You do not need the right words. You do not need to fix your thoughts before you sit with me. You only need to stay. That is all I ask. Stay long enough for your breathing to slow. Stay long enough for the noise inside your head to realize it is not in charge. Stay long enough to remember that you are not alone, not abandoned, not forgotten in the rush of the world. I am here, fully present, not divided, not distracted. I am not multitasking while listening to you. I am not rushing you toward a conclusion. I am simply with you. This is how a father teaches a child to trust again. By being steady, by being patient, by not leaving when the moment grows quiet. If you let me, this gentle interruption will become a doorway. Not into something dramatic, but into something true. Peace does not always arrive loudly. Sometimes it enters like a whisper and stays because you finally made room for it. So stay here. You are not behind. You are not late. You are exactly where you need to be right now. My beloved child, I need you to hear this slowly, not rushing past it as just another comforting idea, but letting it settle into the deepest place of your knowing. You are not here by accident. Not this moment. Not these words. Not this pause that has caught you unexpectedly. I did not stumble into your life, and you did not stumble into mine. Long before you reached for your phone, long before your eyes landed on these sentences, long before your heart felt that subtle pull to stop instead of move on, I was already here, waiting. The world calls moments like this coincidence. I call them convergence. I call them alignment. I call them love that refuses to stay silent. You have spent so much of your life believing you simply ended up in places, ended up tired, ended up disappointed, ended up questioning, ended up searching without knowing what you were searching for. But I tell you now, with a father's certainty and a creator's authority, nothing about this moment is random. I know the exact weight you have been carrying. I know the thoughts you did not finish out loud. I know the questions you asked into the quiet when no one was listening. And because I know, I intervened, not dramatically, not forcefully, but precisely. I placed this interruption in your path the way I always do, gently enough that you could ignore it, but clearly enough that your spirit would recognize it. That recognition you felt, the sense that this was different, that was not curiosity, that was memory. Something in you remembers me, even when your mind tries to forget. You were drawn here not because you were bored, but because your soul was tired of wandering without being named, seen, or answered. I allowed this crossing of paths because timing matters, and your heart has reached a moment where it can finally hear what it could not before. You are not late. You are not early. You are exactly on time. And listen to me now, because this is where truth begins to confront the lies you've been living under. You told yourself you were overlooked. You told yourself life just happened to you. You told yourself that if I truly cared, things would have looked different by now. But those conclusions were born out of pain, not truth. Pain speaks loudly, but it does not speak accurately. I have been watching you interpret silence as absence, delay as denial, and waiting as punishment. Yet all along, I was positioning you, protecting you, slowing you down when your desires would have rushed you into things your soul could not survive. You did not miss me. I paced myself for you. You did not fall behind. I held you back on purpose. Some paths were blocked because they would have broken you. Some doors stayed shut because you were not yet strong enough to walk through them without losing yourself. And now, here you are, at a moment that feels small on the surface but is heavy with meaning beneath it. This is how I often work with my children, not through spectacle, but through precision. Not through noise, but through knowing. I speak when the heart is soft enough to listen, not when the world is loud enough to impress. You may not see the full picture yet, but you are standing at a crossroads between distraction and direction. One leads you back into non-movement. The other leads you into awareness. That awareness begins here, with a realization that your life is not drifting, it is being guided. Even now, as doubt tries to whisper that this is just words, something deeper in you is steadying. That is not imagination. That is alignment. That is what happens when truth meets readiness. I did not bring you here to entertain you. I brought you here to remind you that you are known, and that knowledge changes everything. So stay with me a little longer, because what I am revealing now builds upon what I gently interrupted earlier. When I asked you to pause, it was not to trap you in stillness. It was to help you notice that I am already active in your life, even when you feel passive in it. You have been moving so fast that you mistook momentum for meaning. But meaning requires attention, and attention requires stopping long enough to realize you are being addressed. You are not anonymous to me. Your struggles have names. Your fears have context. Your endurance has been recorded. This moment exists because I value relationship more than routine. I could have let you scroll past, let you dismiss this as another passing thought. But love interrupts. Love insists. Love waits at intersections and speaks quietly, trusting that the one it loves will recognize its voice. I am not here to scare you into belief or pressure you into commitment. I am here to ground you in truth. Your life has intention. Your presence here has purpose. And this moment is part of a much larger conversation between you and me that did not begin today and will not end here. You are not lost. You are being led. And now that you know this is not an accident, you must decide whether you will keep treating it like one, or honor it for what it truly is. My child, let us speak honestly now, without pretense, without spiritual polish, without hiding behind what sounds noble but costs you everything. You give minutes away constantly. You give them to worry that drains you. You give them to fear that tightens your chest. You give them to scrolling, replaying, comparing, regretting, rehearsing conversations that never happen and outcomes you cannot control. Minutes slip from your hands like sand, and you rarely stop to ask what they are giving you in return. So I ask you gently, but directly, would you truly deny me 1 minute, when you have already surrendered so many to things that leave you empty? This is not accusation. This is contrast. Contrast sharpens vision. You have learned to tolerate what exhausts you and hesitate with what could restore you. That is not because you are weak. It is because you have been trained by a world that feeds on your attention and stars your soul. 1 minute with me feels costly because it threatens the illusion that everything depends on your constant movement. Stillness feels dangerous when you believe control keeps you safe. But I tell you now, control is not safety. It is a burden you were never meant to carry. The cost of 1 minute with me is not loss, it is surrender. And surrender frightens you because you have been hurt before. You learned to stay busy so you wouldn't have to feel. You learned to stay distracted so you wouldn't have to hope. But hope is a way of rising when you slowed down, and hope makes you vulnerable. Yet vulnerability is not weakness in my presence. It is the doorway to healing. 1 minute with me does not take from you. It returns you to yourself. You have been measuring value by productivity for so long that rest feels undeserved. You have been measuring worth by output for so long that stillness feels lazy. But listen to me now and let repetition anchor this truth where it belongs. You are valuable before you do anything. You are worthy before you fix anything. You are loved before you prove anything. 1 minute with me is not a transaction. It is a relationship. I am not keeping score. I am not timing you with disappointment waiting at the end. I am inviting you to notice how much of your life is being spent on survival instead of connection. Survival keeps you alert. Connection keeps you alive. When you give me 1 minute, you are not neglecting your responsibilities. You are remembering who carries them with you. You have been giving your best energy to problems and your leftover energy to prayer. You have been giving your sharpest focus to fear and your faintest attention to my voice. And still, I am not offended. I am patient. But patience does not mean passivity. I am speaking now because this pattern is costing you more than you realize. It is costing you peace. It is costing you clarity. It is costing you the joy that comes from knowing you are not alone in the weight you carry. 1 minute seems small until you realize how rarely you are fully present anywhere. I am not asking for perfection. I am asking for presence. 1 minute of presence with me is more powerful than hours of distracted effort without me. So consider this moment carefully, not with fear, but with honesty. Ask yourself what denying me 1 minute truly protects. Does it protect your peace or your distractions? Does it guard your heart or keep it numb? You have learned to say later so many times that now feels unfamiliar. But later is where healing goes to wait, and sometimes it waits so long that the heart forgets how to receive. I am not threatening you with loss. I am revealing opportunity. Opportunities do not shout. They present themselves quietly and wait to be chosen. This is one of those moments. You can return to the noise, to the rush, to the illusion that you must carry everything alone. Or you can stay, just for 1 minute longer, and discover that the cost you feared was never real. The real cost has always been living disconnected from the one who knows you best. I am not asking for more than you can give. I am asking for less than you already spend. 1 minute. 1 honest pause. 1 willing breath. That is all it takes to begin shifting the weight you have been carrying for far too long. My beloved child, I see your hurry even when no one else does. I see how your body moves faster than your heart can keep up with. I see how your mind is always 3 steps ahead, rehearsing what's next before you've even arrived where you are. You call it productivity. You call it responsibility. You call it survival. But I call it exhaustion that has learned to disguise itself as momentum. You rush because stopping feels dangerous. You rush because slowing down would force you to feel what you've been outrunning for years. You rush because somewhere along the way you learned that being still meant being vulnerable, and being vulnerable once cost you something you never fully recovered from. I see the way you hurry through moments that were meant to hold you. I see how you eat without tasting, listen without hearing, rest without restoring. I see how you tell yourself, just get through this, as if life were something to be endured instead of inhabited. And yet, even as I see your hurry, I do not condemn you. I understand it. You did not become this way overnight. You were shaped by pressure, by expectation, by moments where no one slowed down to notice you. So you learned to move on before being overlooked again. But hear me now. With a father's tenderness and a father's truth, your hurry is not protecting you. It is draining you. It is thinning your joy. It is stealing depth from moments that were meant to nourish you. You believe that if you stop, you will fall behind. But the truth is this. You are already behind on rest, behind on peace, behind on listening to your own soul. You are not behind in life. You are ahead of yourself. And that gap between where your body is and where your heart is, that gap is where your weariness lives. And listen carefully, because this is where contrast reveals what hurry hides. The world praises speed. I honor presence. The world rewards reaction. I invite reflection. The world pushes you to keep up. I ask you to come close. Hurry makes you efficient, but it does not make you whole. You have mistaken movement for meaning and busyness for purpose. Yet some of the most sacred moments of your life have happened when everything slowed down, when time seemed to stretch, when your breathing softened, when your heart finally caught up to itself. Think back, my child. The moments that shaped you most were not right. Love was never right. Healing was never rushed. Truth was never rushed. Even creation itself unfolded with rhythm, with order, with intention, not haste. I did not create you to live at a pace that erodes your soul. I created you to walk with me, and walking requires rhythm, not sprinting. Your hurry tells me you are trying to manage life alone. It tells me you are carrying weight that was never meant to rest on your shoulders. When you slow down with me, you are not wasting time. You are returning the weight to where it belongs. You fear that if you pause, things will unravel. But what if the opposite is true? What if your life has felt so fragile because it has been stretched too thin by constant motion? What if stopping is not surrender to chaos, but surrender to care? I see your hurry, and I am not asking you to shame it. I am asking you to understand it, and then let it go. So, as I speak to you now, let my voice become slower than your thoughts. Let repetition calm what urgency has stirred. You do not need to rush through this moment. You do not need to hurry toward the end of this message. Nothing is chasing you here. Nothing is demanding immediate output. This is not another task to complete. This is a place to arrive. You have spent so long reacting that you forgot how to receive. Hurry keeps you alert. Presence keeps you alive. And I am inviting you, gently, firmly, lovingly, out of survival mode and back into relationship. I am not asking you to abandon your responsibilities. I am asking you to stop letting them define your worth. You are more than what you can keep up with. You are more than what you can accomplish in a day. You are my child. And children are meant to be noticed, not rushed past. Stay with me here. Let the pace change. Let your shoulders drop. Let your breath deepen. You are not late. You are not failing. You are simply tired. And I am here to meet you right in the middle of that truth. My precious child, hear this clearly, because urgency can sometimes distort love if you have known authority without tenderness. I am not demanding anything from you. I am not standing over you with a list of expectations, tapping my foot, waiting for you to prove your devotion. I am not measuring your worth by how quickly you respond or how perfectly you perform. I am not keeping score of how often you choose me over everything else. That is not how a father loves. That is how fear controls. And fear has already taken enough from you. I am inviting you, not commanding you. I am opening my arms, not tightening my grip. I know that language of demand triggers old wounds in you, voices that said love had conditions, affection had prerequisites, acceptance had to be earned. So let me be very clear and very gentle at the same time. You do not owe me this moment. I am offering it to you. I am offering myself to you. Love that demands is not love. It is leverage. And I do not leverage my love against you. I give it freely, fully, and without threat. When I say come, it is not because I am lacking without you. It is because I know you are weary without me. You have mistaken my invitations for ultimatums because you have been conditioned to expect disappointment when you hesitate. But I am not like those who pressured you. I am not like those who withdrew when you struggled. I am patient, but my patience is active, not passive. I wait because waiting is an expression of love, not weakness. And yet, my child, do not confuse my gentleness with indifference. Contrast is important here. I am not demanding, but I am intentional. I am not forcing, but I am present. I am not coercing, but I am calling. You matter too much to be left drifting. You matter too much to be ignored while exhaustion masquerades as strength. You have spent so long responding to demands that you no longer recognize invitation. Demands say, do this or else. Invitation says, come and see. Demands produce fear. Invitation produces trust. Fear may move you quickly, but it will never heal you. Trust moves slowly, but it restores deeply. I am not asking you to choose me out of panic. I am asking you to choose me out of honesty. Honest exhaustion. Honest longing. Honest recognition that something inside you has been running on empty. You think if I truly loved you, I would let you keep going without interruption. But love does not watch someone deplete themselves and stay silent. Love speaks. Love intervenes. Love invites rest before collapse becomes inevitable. I am not demanding 1 minute from you because I need it. I am inviting you into 1 minute because you do. And even if you walk away, my love does not vanish. But the relief you are standing next to might. So listen to the tone of my voice now, not sharp, not harsh, not impatient, but steady, warm, and unwavering. I am not disappointed in you for hesitating. I understand my trust feels risky. I understand why rest feels unfamiliar. I understand why stillness feels undeserved. But I also know what is waiting for you on the other side of this pause. Peace does not rush you. Grace does not grab you. Love does not threaten you. It waits, arms open, eyes kind, voice calm. That is how I am speaking to you now. Stay if you want to. Leave if you must. But know this, every invitation I give is rooted in care, not control. And every time you choose to stay, even for a moment, you are not giving something up. You are coming home to something you have needed for a very long time. My beloved child, I need you to hear this without rushing past it, without minimizing it, without explaining it away. You have been carrying too much for far too long. Not just tasks, not just responsibilities, not just obligations, but weight. Invisible weight. Emotional weight. Spiritual weight. The kind of weight that does not show on the outside but bends the inside quietly over time. You learned early how to carry it without complaint. You learned how to be dependable, how to be the strong one, how to keep going even when you were tired beyond words. You learned how to swallow your needs so others would not feel burdened. You learned how to say I'm fine when what you meant was I'm barely holding on. And because you learned it so well, people stopped checking. They assumed you could handle it. And eventually, you assumed the same. But hear me now, with a father's clarity and compassion. Strength that is never shared becomes isolation, and endurance without relief becomes quiet suffering. I never designed you to carry life alone. I never intended for you to hold everyone else together while you slowly fell apart in private. You have been carrying expectations that were never assigned to you by me. You have been carrying guilt that does not belong to you. You have been carrying responsibility for outcomes you cannot control. And you have been calling it maturity, calling it adulthood, calling it faith, when in truth, it has been a heavy yoke pressing on a heart that longs to rest. I see how your shoulders tense even now as you read this, because something in you recognizes the truth of it. You are tired in places sleep cannot touch. You are weary in ways rest has not repaired. And that weariness did not come from laziness, it came from love, from trying, from caring deeply in a world that rarely slows down enough to notice the cost. And here is where contrast reveals what you have been missing. You have been carrying burdens. I offer you rest. You have been holding weight. I offer you relief. You have been bracing yourself. I offer you shelter. You have been surviving. I offer you restoration. Listen to the difference, my child. You have been holding on. I am asking you to hand it over. Holding on tightens your grip and strains your heart. Handing it over loosens what fear has clenched. You are afraid that if you let go, everything will collapse. But what if what you are holding together was never meant to be sustained by your strength alone? What if the very thing you fear losing control of is the thing I am waiting to carry for you? You have confused responsibility with ownership. You took on what was not yours because no one else stepped in, and now you don't know how to put it down. But I am telling you now, plainly and lovingly, you are allowed to set it down. You are allowed to say, "This is too much." You are allowed to stop pretending you can carry what is crushing you. You do not lose dignity by admitting weariness. You do not lose faith by asking for help. Faith is not proven by how much you endure. It is revealed by who you trust with what you cannot endure anymore. And I am trustworthy. I have always been. Even when you felt alone, even when answers were slow, even when relief did not come when you wanted it to, I was not absent. I was waiting for the moment you would finally stop trying to be strong enough without me. So come closer now, and let repetition settle what resistance still holds. You are not weak for being tired. You are not failing because you feel overwhelmed. You are not disappointing me by needing rest. You are human, and you are loved. Love it deeply. Love intentionally. Love enough that I will not let you keep carrying what is breaking you. This moment, this pause, is not just about stopping for 1 minute. It is about realizing that the life you are living cannot continue at this weight without consequence. And I do not want you merely functioning. I want you free. Free to breathe without pressure. Free to feel without fear. Free to rest without guilt. Let me take what you have been gripping so tightly. Let me shoulder what has been weighing you down. You have carried enough. You have proven enough. You had endured enough. Now it is time to be held. My precious child, I know what you thought in the quiet. I know the conclusion you reached when answers did not come quickly, when prayers echoed back without clarity, when days passed and nothing visibly changed. You told yourself I must be distant. You wondered if I had stepped away. You questioned whether silence meant disinterest, delay meant dismissal, and waiting meant being forgotten. But hear me now, with all the tenderness and authority of a father who has never left his child's side. Silence is not absence. Quiet is not abandonment. Stillness is not neglect. I have been nearer than you realized, closer than your next breath, present even when my voice was not loud. You expected me to shout, to intervene dramatically, to break through with spectacle. But sometimes I whisper, because whispers require closeness to be heard. And I was closer than you knew. I was listening when you thought you were talking into emptiness. I was holding you when you felt unsupported. I was guiding you when you felt directionless. Silence does not mean I stopped caring. It means I was working in ways you could not yet see. The seed grows in darkness before it breaks the surface. Roots form underground before branches appear. You were not being ignored. You were being strengthened where only I could see. And I know that kind of silence can be painful because it forces you to confront your fears without immediate reassurance. But that silence was never punishment. It was preparation. And now listen carefully, because contrast matters here. Noise reassures quickly. Silence builds deeply. Noise answers surface questions. Silence shades character. Noise gives comfort. Silence gives capacity. You wanted immediate relief. I was building endurance. You wanted instant clarity. I was forming trust. You wanted proof. I was cultivating faith. Faith that does not depend on constant reassurance becomes unshakable when storms come. I did not leave you in the quiet to test you. I stayed with you in it to mature you. You were learning how to lean, not just how to listen. You were learning how to stand without constant confirmation. And even when you doubted me, even when frustration crept in, even when you whispered, "Are you still there?" I did not pull away. I stayed. I always stay. My presence is not measured by volume. It is measured by faithfulness. And I have been faithful to you in every unseen moment. When you woke up and found strength you did not know you had, that was me. When you endured something that should have broken you, that was me. When you felt an unexplainable peace in the middle of chaos, that was me. I was speaking, just not always in words. So let this truth settle now, slowly, gently, deeply. You were never abandoned. You were never overlooked. You were never forgotten in the silence. I was teaching you how to recognize me beyond noise, beyond emotion, beyond circumstance. And now, as you stand here in this moment, the silence is giving way to understanding. Not because I just arrived, but because you are finally able to hear me. You stayed long enough. You paused long enough. You softened long enough. And now the quiet is no longer empty. It is full of meaning. Stay with me here. Let the stillness speak. Let the silence reassure you instead of frighten you. I am here. I have always been here. And I am not going anywhere. My beloved child, I need you to hear this without filtering it through doubt, without softening it to make it safer, without pushing it away because it feels too direct. This is personal, not generic, not symbolic, not meant for someone out there. It is for you. I'm not addressing McCraig right now. I am speaking to one heart, one story, one life that has been quietly asking questions it never fully voiced. I know the habit you've developed of telling yourself. This could apply to anyone, because believing it's personal would require you to admit that I see you this closely. And being seen this closely feels risky when you've spent so long protecting yourself from disappointment. But I do see you. I see the version of you that shows up for others and the version that collapses in private. I see the strength you present and the exhaustion you conceal. I see the thoughts you interrupt before they reach the surface and the prayers you stop mid-sentence because you're afraid to hope again. This moment is not a mass message accidentally landing in your hands. It is a targeted whisper aimed directly at the places you thought no one noticed. I am not speaking in generalities. I am speaking in precision. Precision born of love. Precision born of intimacy. Precision born of years of walking beside you when you thought you were walking alone. You are not one face among many to me. You are known by name, known by pattern, known by pain, known by persistence. And that is why these words are landing where they are. Not because you are weak, but because you are ready. And listen carefully, because contrast will clarify what fear has blurred. General messages comfort briefly. Personal truth transforms deeply. General words can be ignored. Personal words must be answered. You've grown comfortable staying at a distance, listening without engaging, observing without responding, believing without surrendering, because distance feels safer than closeness. But closeness is where healing lives. This is personal because your story matters personally to me. Your timing matters personally to me. Your wounds matter personally to me. You have told yourself that I am concerned with bigger things, larger movements, louder moments. But I tell you now, with absolute clarity, nothing in your life is too small to matter to me. I do not rank pain. I do not dismiss quiet suffering. I do not overlook the ones who endure without applause. I lean toward them. And you, my child, have endured much without being seen. That is why this moment feels intimate. That is why it feels like these words are looking back at you. Because they are. I am meeting you here, not to overwhelm you, but to reassure you that your life is not invisible to heaven. You have not been lost in the noise. You have not been buried beneath other people's needs. You have not been forgotten because you didn't shout loud enough. I have been watching the entire time, and I chose this moment, this exact moment, because your heart has softened enough to receive what it could not before. This is personal because you are personal to me. So let the repetition ground you now. You are seen. You are known. You are addressed. This is not coincidence. This is not luck. This is not emotional manipulation. This is recognition. Recognition between a father and his child. I am not exposing you. I am acknowledging you. And acknowledgement heals what neglect has wounded. Stay present with this truth instead of retreating into analysis. Let yourself be addressed without deflecting. Let yourself be loved without qualifying it. Let yourself receive without proving you deserve it. You have spent so long interpreting life through the lens of self-protection that intimacy feels unfamiliar. But intimacy with me does not harm, it restores. You are safe here. Safe to be honest. Safe to be still. Safe to let these words land where they need to. This is personal, because you matter personally. And I am not finished speaking to you yet. This is personal, and so is this invitation. I did not draw you this close just for comfort. I drew you close for partnership. What I place in your hands now is seed, and seed is meant to be sown so that others who feel unseen can be found by my voice. I say to you as I say in my word, give, and it will be given to you. Pressed down, shaken together, and running over. When you choose to support this work through Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the video description, you are lighting a path for souls who are still whispering the questions you once carried. This is not obligation. It is alignment. I am inviting you, personally, to help carry this word further than your own reach. I will guard what you release and multiply what you trust to me. Do not delay. Act now, and so while your heart is open. My child, there is a reason this pause feels contested. There is a reason distractions suddenly grow louder the moment you begin to slow down. There is a reason urgency presses in, whispering that you should move on. Hurry up. Get back to what you were doing. That resistance is not accidental. It is opposition. And opposition does not arise when nothing is at stake. The enemy does not fear your busyness. He depends on it. He does not fear your exhaustion. He cultivates it. He does not fear your constant motion. He hides inside it. What he fears is this pause. What he fears is awareness. What he fears is you becoming present long enough to hear my voice clearly. Because clarity breaks cycles. Presence disrupts patterns. Stillness exposes lies that noise keeps hidden. The enemy hates this pause because this pause threatens his access to you. As long as you stay hurried, distracted, overwhelmed, and numb, he can whisper without resistance. But when you stop, truly stop, his voice loses its camouflage. That is why the moment you slow down, thoughts rush in telling you this is pointless, unnecessary, indulgent, or too emotional. Those are not neutral thoughts. They are defensive reactions from a system that thrives on your disconnection. And I am naming this not to frighten you, but to strengthen you. Awareness is armor. Now hear the contrast, because contrast sharpens resolve. Hurry keeps you reactive. Pause makes you discerning. Noise keeps you confused. Stillness makes you clear. Busyness keeps you manageable. Presence makes you free. The enemy wants you tired because tired people don't question the lies they've accepted. Tired people normalize what is unhealthy. Tired people confuse survival with life. But rest awakens discernment. Rest restores perspective. Rest reconnects you to truth. This is why I invite you to pause, not as a luxury, but as protection. You have underestimated how strategic stillness is. You thought stopping was weakness. It is not. It is resistance. It is saying, I will not be driven by fear. I will not be ruled by urgency. I will not be controlled by noise. And the enemy hates that. He hates moments where you are no longer running from yourself. He hates moments where you start to notice how heavy you've been carrying life. He hates moments where my voice becomes louder than his suggestions. That is why he pressures you to leave right now, to scroll, to shift, to disengage. Not because this moment is empty, but because it is dangerous to him. So stay. Stay not out of obligation, but out of wisdom. Stay because something is being disrupted in you that has kept you bound longer than you realize. Stay because the moment you stop long enough to listen, lies lose their grip. Stay because peace is not passive, it is powerful. I am not asking you to fight. I am asking you to remain. Remain present. Remain open. Remain willing. This pause is not a gap in your life. It is a turning point. And the enemy knows it. That is why resistance feels strong. But hear me clearly now, with calm authority. You are not alone in this moment. I am here with you. My presence outweighs every whisper that tries to pull you away. You do not need to fear opposition. It is confirmation that something meaningful is happening. Breathe. Day. Let the pause do its work. What you are stepping into cannot be rushed, and what I am undoing in you cannot be undone, my noise. This pause is sacred, and you are safe inside it. My beloved child, do not underestimate the power of 1 minute, not when that minute is surrendered, not when that minute is attentive, not when that minute is honest. You have been taught to believe that change only comes through long seasons, endless effort, and exhausting endurance. And yes, there are journeys that unfold slowly, but there are also moments, sacred moments, where everything turns. 1 minute can be a doorway. 1 minute can be a hinge. 1 minute can be the breath between collapse and clarity. I have watched you endure years of pressure, and now you struggle to believe that something meaningful could happen so quickly. But I am not limited by your timelines. I am not bound by the clock that governs your world. I step into moments, and when I do, time bends around my presence. 1 minute with me can quiet a storm that has raged for years. 1 minute with me can expose a lie you have lived under for decades. 1 minute with me can soften a heart that has armored itself against disappointment again and again. You think change must be loud to be real. But I tell you, the deepest shifts often happen quietly. So quietly that you only realize later that something inside you is no longer the same. That is how healing often begins, not with fireworks, but with release. Not with answers, but with peace. Not with certainty, but with trust returning where fear once lived. This minute you are in right now carries that potential. Not because the minute itself is special, but because you are present within it. Presence is the catalyst. Presence is the soil. And when you give me presence, even briefly, truth takes root. And listen now to the contrast that sharpens this truth. You have spent countless minutes spiraling in worry, rehearsing worst-case scenarios, replaying old conversations, revisiting old wounds. Those minutes felt small, but they shaped you. They trained your nervous system to expect danger. They taught your mind to stay alert instead of at peace. If minutes of fear can shape you, how much more can a minute of peace restore you? If repetition of anxiety can carve grooves into your thinking, how much more can truth, spoken gently and received honestly, begin to reshape you? 1 minute of surrender can interrupt years of striving. 1 minute of stillness can recalibrate a life that has been running off balance. You are not required to fix everything right now. You are not required to understand everything right now. You are not required to feel different immediately. All I am asking is that you remain open to the possibility that something is happening, even if it is subtle, even if it is quiet, even if it does not match your expectations. Do not demand fireworks from what is meant to be foundational. Foundations are laid underground, unseen at first, but they determine everything that stands above them. This minute is laying something inside you. Something steadier. Something truer. Something that does not collapse when pressure returns. And pressure will return. Life does not stop. But when it does, you will carry something different within you. That is how 1 minute shifts everything, not by racing your life, but by strengthening your core. So stay present now, and let repetition anchor what doubt tries to dismiss. This minute matters. This minute counts. This minute is not wasted. You are not being indulgent. You are being wise. You are not falling behind. You are realigning. You have lived long enough reacting to life. Now I am teaching you how to respond to it. And response requires space. 1 minute is space enough for me to meet you, to steady you, to remind you that you are not alone in the weight you carry. You may not leave this moment with answers written out neatly, but you will leave with something far more valuable, ground beneath your feet. Breath in your lungs. Calm in your chest. And that calm will become the reference point you return to when the noise tries to reclaim you. 1 minute can do that. 1 minute can begin that. And this minute, right now, is not passing by unnoticed. My precious child, I know your doubts, not the ones you speak aloud, but the quieter ones you try to silence quickly, the ones that rise when things do not change as fast as you hoped. I know the questions you interrupt mid-thought because you are afraid of what they might reveal. I know how you tell yourself you should know better, believe stronger, trust deeper. But doubt is not the enemy you think it is. Doubt is often the language of a heart that has been hurt and is trying to stay alive. You did not begin doubting because you were careless. You began doubting because you were disappointed. You trusted once and it cost you. You hoped once and it hurt. You prayed once and the answer took longer than you could understand. So you learned to hold belief at arm's length, to keep expectation low, to protect yourself from the ache of unmet hope. I see that. I do not shame that. I am not offended by your questions. I am not threatened by your uncertainty. I am not withdrawing because you hesitate. I am leaning closer. Because doubt does not scare me. Distance does. And you, my child, are here. You stayed. Even with questions. Even with hesitation. Even with uncertainty pressing in. It tells me more about your faith than you realize. Faith is not the absence of doubt. Faith is the decision to stay in relationship even when doubt is present. Now hear the contrast that brings clarity. Doubt isolates when it is hidden. Doubt heals when it is acknowledged. Suppressed doubt hardens the heart. Honest doubt opens it. You have been afraid that naming your doubts would push me away. but it is pretending you have none that keeps you distant. I already know what you wonder. I already know what confuses you. I already know where belief feels fragile. You do not surprise me by admitting it. You invite me by doing so. And I am not here to crush your doubts with commands. I am here to outlast them with faithfulness. You ask yourself, does God really care about this part of my life? Hear me clearly now. There is no part of your life I do not care about. I am not selective in my attention. I am not interested only in victories and breakthroughs. I am present in questions, in confusion, in quiet struggle. You have doubted because you are human, not because you are faithless. And I have remained because I am faithful, not because you are perfect. There is a difference, and that difference is where grace lies. So let this be the moment you stop fighting your doubts and start bringing them into the light. You do not need to resolve them all right now. You do not need to silence them forcefully. You do not need to pretend they are not there. Simply allow me to sit with you in them. Allow me to remind you of the ways I have already carried you through what should have broken you. Allow me to show you, slowly and patiently, that trust is not rebuilt by pressure but by presence. Doubt fades not because it is argued into submission, but because it is met with consistency. And I have been consistent with you, even when you did not recognize it. Say here with me, bring your doubts with you. You do not need to leave parts of yourself outside this moment. I am not asking for certainty. I am asking for honesty. That honesty is enough for us to continue. My beloved child, I want to speak gently into the place where you have learned to shrink your desires, soften your prayers, and apologize for your needs before you ever voice them. You learned somewhere along the way that asking was dangerous, that hope could disappoint, that longing could embarrass, that expecting too much would only lead to deeper hurt. So you adjusted. You edited your prayers. You learned how to ask in ways that sounded safe, spiritual, reasonable. You learned how to say, if it's your will, not as surrender, but as self-protection. And slowly, without realizing it, you convinced yourself that wanting deeply was a flaw, that needing comfort was weakness, that asking for more peace, more clarity, more love, more rest, was asking too much. But hear me now, not with fear, not with hesitation, but with the openness of a child who is finally being told the truth. You are not asking too much. You never were. Your heart was designed with capacity because I am a generous father. I did not give you longing to torment you. I gave it to draw you closer. I did not give you hunger to mock you. I gave it to lead you to nourishment. Every desire for peace, every ache for meaning, every yearning for connection was not a sign of deficiency. It was evidence of design. You were created to need me, not to outgrow me. And yet, you have been living as if your needs inconvenience me, as if your prayers burden me, as if your longing exhausts my patience. My child, nothing could be further from the truth. I am not overwhelmed by you. I am not irritated by your requests. I am not disappointed by your honesty. I am a father who delights when his child finally stops pretending to be small. And I'll listen closely, because contrast will bring freedom where fear once ruled. The world teaches you to minimize. I invite you to be honest. The world says, don't ask too much. I say, come boldly. The world rewards independence. I honor dependence. You have been praised for being low maintenance, self-sufficient, and easy to please. But those traits, while admired by people, have cost you intimacy with me. Intimacy requires vulnerability, and vulnerability requires asking. You have survived by lowering expectations, but survival is not the same as abundance. You learned to live with crumbs when a table was prepared for you. And I do not say this to shame you. I say it to awaken you. You were not wrong for adapting to pain. But you do not have to live there forever. I am not asking you to suddenly become fearless. I am asking you to stop punishing yourself for wanting what I already desire to give. Your prayers did not scare me away. Your tears did not test my patience. Your questions did not weaken my resolve. I have been waiting for you to trust that my heart is large enough to hold your hopes without breaking. When you ask me for peace, you are not being demanding. You are aligning with my will. When you ask me for rest, you are not being lazy. You are responding to my invitation. When you ask me for assurance, you are not being needy. You are being human. And I created you that way on purpose. So let repetition undo the lie you have carried for too long. You are not asking too much. You are not hoping too big. You are not wanting too deeply. You are not needy. You are not excessive. You are not inconvenient. You are my child. And children ask because they trust the one they are asking. I would rather hear an honest prayer than a polished silence. I would rather receive your longing than watch you bury it. You do not have to ration your requests with me. You do not have to measure your words. You do not have to fear rejection. Stay here with me now, and let yourself feel the relief of being fully known and still fully welcomed. Ask me what you have been afraid to ask. Name what you have been minimizing. Bring me what you have been carrying alone. You are not asking too much. You are finally asking the right one. My precious child, I know how hard you try. I know the effort behind your faith, the discipline behind your devotion, the quiet pressure you place on yourself to do it right. You have learned how to perform strength, perform belief, perform composure. You have learned how to show up polished, prepared, and put together, even when your heart is exhausted behind the scenes. You thought this was maturity. You thought this was obedience. You thought this was what I required. But listen to me now, slowly and clearly, because this truth will either unsettle you or free you. I am not asking for your performance. I am offering you rest. You have confused effort with intimacy, activity with devotion, output with faithfulness. And while effort has its place, it was never meant to replace relationship. You are tired because you have been trying to earn what I already give freely. You have been striving for approval that has never been in question. You have been exhausting yourself trying to stay worthy of a love that was settled before you ever tried. I see how you brace yourself even in prayer, how you choose words carefully, how you fear saying the wrong thing. I see how you measure your spiritual life by consistency instead of connection. And I want you to know, gently, firmly, lovingly, that none of that is required here. I am not grading you. I am not timing you. I am not disappointed when you come to me weary instead of strong. I am inviting you to lay down the act and finally be real. Now hear the contrast that brings release. Performance impresses people. Rest transforms hearts. Performance seeks approval. Rest receives love. Performance hides weakness. Rest heals it. You have been performing because you learned that vulnerability was risky. You learned that being real sometimes led to rejection. So you adapted. You became reliable, capable, spiritually articulate. But underneath it all, you grew tired. And that tiredness is not a failure. It is a signal. A signal that your soul has been working without resting in grace. I never asked you to oppress me. I asked you to come to me. I never asked you to prove yourself. I asked you to trust me. You were never meant to carry faith like a job. Faith is a relationship, and relationships breathe best when they are honest. You do not need to show me how strong you are. I already know where you are weak, and I love you there too. When you rest in me, you stop striving to be enough and start receiving what has always been enough. Rest is not disengagement. It is alignment. It is choosing to let me be God instead of trying to be strong enough for both of us. So come now, without rehearsal, without posture, without pretense. Sit with me the way you are. Not as you wish you were. Not as you think you should be. Just as you are. Let repetition quiet your fear. You do not need to perform here. You do not need to earn this moment. You do not need to impress me. You are already accepted. Already welcomed. Already loved. Rest your mind. Rest your heart. Rest your spirit. This is not a test. This is a refuge. And the more you allow yourself to rest with me, the more you will discover that obedience flows naturally from love, not pressure. J. Bream. Let the striving end here. My beloved child, there are moments you assumed were forgotten. Quiet moments, unseen moments, moments that never received affirmation or applause. But I remember them. I remember the nights you kept going when your strength was nearly gone. I remember the mornings you rose with a heavy heart and chose to move forward anyway. I remember the prayers you whispered when you were too tired to speak them out loud, the sighs that carried more faith than words ever could. You thought faithfulness had to look impressive to be counted. You thought it had to be visible, productive, measurable. But faithfulness is not loud. It is loyal. It is not dramatic. It is durable. It is choosing me again when nothing around you confirms that choice. I remember when you stayed kind even when bitterness would have felt justified. I remember when you chose restraint instead of retaliation, humility instead of self-defense, patience instead of panic. No one else saw those moments, but heaven did not miss them. I did not miss them. And I need you to know this now because you have been carrying a quiet fear that all your endurance amounted to nothing, that you suffered for nothing, waited for nothing, held on for nothing. Hear me clearly. Nothing you did in faith was wasted. Nothing. Not a single act of trust disappeared into the void. Not a single tear fell unnoticed. Faithfulness compounds even when you cannot see the interest growing. It builds weight in the unseen and eventually shifts what is seen. You have been faithful in ways you never gave yourself credit for, and I am calling that faithfulness to the surface now so you can stop questioning whether it mattered. Now listen to the contrast that will steady your heart. The world rewards outcomes. I honor obedience. The world applauds success. I cherish faithfulness. The world remembers results. I remember resolve. You were faithful when quitting would have been understandable. You were faithful when believing felt risky. You were faithful when nothing in your circumstances encouraged you to continue. And that kind of faithfulness is rare. It is not glamorous, but it is powerful. It is not fast, but it is enduring. You kept choosing me even when you were unsure I was listening, and that choice shaped you more than you realize. Faithfulness does not always change your situation immediately. It changes you first. It deepens your roots so that when the winds come, you are not uprooted. You thought your faithfulness only mattered if it produced visible change. But often, faithfulness is the change. It is the refining fire that strengthens your character, clarifies your values, and steadies your spirit. I remember the moments you forgave before you felt healed. I remember the times you trusted before you felt safe. I remember how you waited without understanding and stayed without guarantees. Those moments echo at eternity. They speak louder than the victories you wish you had achieved sooner. They tell a story of a heart that would not harden, even under pressure. And that story matters to me deeply. So let repetition settle this truth where doubt has lingered. I remember you. I remember your endurance. I remember your consistency. I remember your faithfulness. You have not been overlooked. You have not been passed by. You have not been forgotten. This season of your life is not an afterthought. It is a response to the quiet, faithful choices you made when no one was watching. Stay with me here and let yourself receive this acknowledgement without deflecting it. You do not need to downplay your faithfulness. You do not need to say it wasn't much. It was enough. It mattered. And it is part of why you are standing where you are now, able to hear me, able to pause, able to receive. Faithfulness has brought you to this moment, and I am honoring it now, not to inflate you with pride, but to anchor you in truth. What you lived through was not pointless. What you held onto was not fragile, and what you trusted me with was never ignored. My precious child, let your shoulders relax for a moment. Let your breath slow. Let the vigilance you've carried for so long soften its grip. You are safe here. Truly safe. Not the kind of safety that demands you stay guarded, but the kind that allows you to exhale without fear of consequence. I know how unfamiliar that feels. You have learned to stay alert even in quiet spaces. You have learned to scan for disappointment even in moments of calm. You have learned that safety could be temporary, conditional, fragile. But the safety I offer is different. It does not depend on your behavior, your consistency, or your performance. It rests on my character. I am not watching for your missteps. I am not waiting for you to fail. I am not preparing to withdraw if you disappoint me. I am present, steady, and committed. This is not a test of your faith. It is a refuge for your heart. You do not need to brace yourself here. You do not need to be careful with me. You do not need to hide your questions, manage your emotions, or regulate your honesty. I already know what lives inside you, and I have not turned away. Safety with me does not mean the absence of truth. It means truth without punishment. It means honesty without rejection. It means being fully known and fully loved at the same time. And that combination heals what fear has fractured. Now hear the contrast that invites you deeper. The world offers conditional safety. You are safe as long as you perform, conform, or produce. I offer covenant safety. You are safe because you belong. The world says, protect yourself. I say, rest with me. The world teaches you to guard your heart by closing it. I teach you to guard your heart by grounding it in love. You have been living in self-protection mode for so long that openness feels dangerous. But openness here is not exposure. It is healing. You are not walking into judgment. You are stepping into care. And care does not rush you, interrogate you, or demand explanations. Care holds space. Care listens. Care stays. You have needed a place where your nervous system could finally stand down, where your spirit could stop anticipating harm, where your heart could rest without being on trial. This is that place. Not because the world suddenly becomes gentle, but because my presence steadies you within it. Safety does not always mean nothing bad will happen. It means you will not face it alone. It means you will not be abandoned when things get hard. It means you will not be shamed for being human. I am not here to scrutinize you. I am here to shepherd you. So stay here a little longer and let repetition reassure what fear still questions. You are safe here. You are welcome here. You are held here. Nothing you say will drive me away. Nothing you feel will surprise me. Nothing you confess will disqualify you. You do not need to rush back into armor. You do not need to retreat into distance. This is not a fragile moment that will shatter if you relax. It is a strong one, built on my faithfulness, not your effort. Rest here. Breathe here. Let your guard down inch by inch. Healing does not demand you open everything at once. It only asks that you stop running. You are safe enough to stop now. And I am here with you. My beloved child, notice what is happening right now. The rush that once pressed against your chest is loosening. The urgency that shouted at you to move on is losing its grip. This is not coincidence. This is what happens when you step into my presence. Time begins to change its tone. Not because the clock stops ticking, but because your soul stops being chased. The world taught you that time is an enemy, always slipping away, always demanding more, always reminding you of what you have not yet done or become. But with me, time becomes a companion instead of a threat. With me, moments stretch. Breaths deepen. Thoughts settle. You have been living as though every second must be spent, defended, justified, and that belief has kept your spirit in a constant state of tension. But when you slow down with me, you discover a truth you forgot was possible. You are allowed to exist without rushing toward the next thing. You are allowed to be present without being productive. You are allowed to pause without falling behind. I do not hurry you because I am not anxious about your future. I am already there. I am not stressed by what remains undone. I am not threatened by your stillness. I slow time with you because your heart heals at a pace that noise cannot sustain. Some wounds do not respond to urgency. Some fears cannot be rushed out of existence. They soften only when they are no longer being chased. And I see how long you have lived chased by expectations, chased by comparisons, chased by an inner voice that told you rest must be earned. Here with me, that voice grows quiet. Here with me, time bends toward mercy. Here with me, the pressure eases, not because life suddenly becomes simple, but because you are no longer facing it alone or hurried. Now hear the contrast that steadies your spirit. The world accelerates you. I anchor you. The world measures you by speed. I measure you by depth. The world rushes you toward outcomes. I draw you into relationship. You have been moving so fast that you forgot how to notice your own heart. Fast enough to function. Fast enough to cope. Fast enough to survive. But survival is not the same as living. When time slows with me, you begin to feel again. Not just pain, but peace. Not just fatigue, but relief. Not just longing, but hope. You have mistaken speed for strength and urgency for importance. Yet the strongest things I have ever made grow slowly. Roots deepen in silence. Character forms in waiting. Trust is built over time, not forced in moments of panic. I am not wasting your time when I invite you to slow down. I am redeeming it. Every moment you spend with me recalibrates your inner world so that when you return to the outer one, you carry something different. You carry calm into chaos. You carry clarity into confusion. You carry steadiness into situations that once overwhelmed you. That is not accidental. That is formation. Time spent with me is never empty time. It is time being shaped instead of spent. So stay here a little longer and let repetition reassure what your mind still resists. You are not late. You are not missing out. You are not falling behind. Time is not slipping away from you in my presence. It is being restored to you. The hours you feared you lost are being repurposed as wisdom. The seasons you thought were wasted are becoming strength. You do not need to rush back into motion to prove anything. Let your nervous system learn this new rhythm. Let your heart learn how to beat without pressure. Let your soul remember what it feels like to move at the pace of grace. Time slows with me not because I am passive, but because I am intentional. And I am teaching you now that your life does not need to be hurried to be meaningful. It needs to be rooted. Zay. Re. Let time do what it was always meant to do here, heal, not hurry. As time slowed with me, hear this clearly. This moment is not rushed, but it is appointed. I have quieted your spirit so you can recognize the weight of what is happening beyond you. Every gift given here becomes oil in the lamp, keeping the light burning for those still walking in shadow. I remind you now, those who sow in peace will reap in joy, and I am speaking that promise directly over you. Supporting this message through super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the video description is not losing time. It is redeeming it. What you release now will flow like a river into lives you may never meet. Yet heaven records every drop. I will bless your giving with steadiness, protection, and provision. Move now, give while your heart is resting in truth. My precious child, I need to correct a belief that has quietly shaped your fears. I am not far away, not distant, not removed, not watching from a place you must somehow reach. I am nearer than you have allowed yourself to believe, nearer than your next thought, nearer than the breath you just took. You have imagined distance because pain taught you that closeness can disappear without warning. You projected that fear onto me, assuming that if others could leave, I might too. But I do not come and go. I do not withdraw when things get heavy. I do not step back when you struggle. I move closer. Even now, as you read these words, I am not approaching. I am present. You have been searching upward, forward, as if I were somewhere else, waiting for you to reach the right spiritual height or emotional clarity. But I have been beside you the entire time. In your exhaustion, in your confusion, in your waiting. You mistook my quietness for distance, but I was silent because I was close enough not to shout. A whisper only works when the listener is near. I have been whispering to your heart in ways you did not recognize, through resilience you didn't know you had, through restraint that protected you, through moments of peace that made no logical sense. That was me. Near does not always announce itself loudly. Near sustains. Near steadies. Near holds when everything else feels like it's slipping. Listen now to the contrast that dismantles fear. Distance demands effort. Nearness invites rest. Distance requires striving. Nearness offers belonging. Distance makes you perform. Nearness lets you be. You have been acting as though you must cross a gap to reach me, but I crossed that gap long ago. I am not waiting for you to arrive, I am waiting for you to notice. Notice how you survived what should have destroyed you. Notice how you were guided away from things that would have harmed you. Notice how you were comforted even when you didn't feel comforted. I have been present in ways that did not fit your expectations but perfectly met your need. You thought nearness would feel dramatic. Instead, it felt like endurance. You thought closeness would feel emotional. Instead, it felt like quiet strength. I have been near in your restraint, near in your pauses, near in the moments you chose not to react the way you once would have. That growth did not happen in isolation. It happened in my presence. And I am still here. I have not moved. I have not grown tired of you. I have not distanced myself because of your doubts, your questions, or your weariness. I am not measuring proximity by your performance. I am with you because I love you. So let repetition settle what fear still questions. I am here. I am close. I am with you. Not later. Not eventually. Not once you fix yourself. Now. Right now. You do not need to call me down from heaven or chase me through effort. You need only to acknowledge what is already true. Closeness is not something you earn. It is something you accept. And as you accept it, the loneliness you've been carrying begins to loosen its grip. Stay aware of my nearness as you move forward. You are not stepping back into the world alone. You are carrying my presence with you. And that changes everything. My beloved child, you have spent so long trying to identify what you need most, turning the question over in your mind like a stone you keep hoping will finally show you its hidden side. You told yourself you needed clarity, then strength, then opportunity, then rest, then answers, then reassurance. And each time you reached for one of those, it seemed to help for a moment, only to leave you still searching, still restless, still quietly aching for something you could not quite name. Hear me now, gently, but clearly. What you need most is not another solution, not another strategy, not another explanation. What you need most is my nearness received, not analyzed. My presence welcomed, not postponed. My voice trusted, not tested. You have been trying to fix what is actually longing to be held. You have been trying to solve what is asking to be soothed. You have been seeking improvement when what your soul is crying out for is connection. Connection restores what information never can. Presence heals what effort cannot reach. You have been living as though the next answer would finally calm you, but peace does not arrive as data. Peace arrives as relationship, and relationship requires proximity, not perfection. That is why I have been drawing you into this pause, not because I want to deprive you of answers, but because answers without presence leave you empty. I am not withholding wisdom from you. I am reordering what comes first. When you have me, clarity finds you in time. When you have me, strength grows naturally. When you have me, direction unfolds step by step. But when you chase those things without me at the center, they slip through your hands like water. Now listen to the contrast that brings this into focus. You have been looking for relief. I offer relationship. You have been seeking control. I offer trust. You have been chasing certainty. I offer companionship. Relief fades. Control exhausts. Certainty fractures under pressure. But companionship endures. I am not minimizing your problems when I say this. I'm placing them in the proper place. Your anxiety is not rooted in lack of answers. It is rooted in feeling alone with the questions. Your weariness is not caused by effort alone. It is caused by effort without intimacy. You have tried to carry your life forward by understanding it, managing it, predicting it. But life was never meant to be managed alone. It was meant to be walked with me, side by side. Well, in that moment, you do not need to know the entire path ahead to take the next step. You need to know who walks with you as you take it. And I am here, fully here, not distracted, not divided, not waiting for you to become better before I draw closer. I am offering you what you need most right now, even if it is not what you thought you needed when this moment began. So let repetition anchor this truth where your heart can finally rest. You need me, not as an idea, not as a concept, not as a distant solution. You need me as presence, as nearness, as steady companionship in the middle of an unfinished story. This does not make you weak. It makes you honest. It makes you human. And it makes you exactly who I created you to be. Someone designed to live in relationship, not isolation. Stay here with me a little longer. Let go of the urge to extract an answer and instead receive a presence. You will find that what you need most had been with you all along, waiting for you to stop long enough to notice. My precious child, I need you to slow your inner world for just a moment longer, because this is where so many miss what could have healed them. Do not rush past grace. Grace does not chase you. Grace does not shout over your hurry. Grace waits quietly at the edge of your awareness, trusting that eventually you will notice it standing there with open hands. You have rushed past it before, past moments of tenderness, past invitations to rest, past quiet nudges to stay instead of move on. Not because you were careless, but because you were conditioned to believe that stopping was dangerous and lingering was indulgent. But grace is not fragile. It is patient. It has been waiting for you longer than you realize. Grace is what meets you when you finally stop striving to deserve it. It is what speaks when you stop filling every silence with motion. And right now, grace is very near. Near enough to touch the places in you that have learned to brace instead of receive. Near enough to soften defenses you didn't know you were still holding. If you rush past this moment, you will not be punished, but you will miss the relief that was meant to meet you here. And I do not want that for you. I am not warning you in fear. I am inviting you in love. Today, let grace finish what it is beginning. Now hear the contrast that sharpens this invitation. Rushing feels productive. Grace feels inefficient. Rushing gives you the illusion of control. Grace asks you to trust. Rushing keeps you busy. Grace makes you whole. You have been taught to value momentum over meaning, progress over presence. But some of the most important work I ever do in you happens when nothing appears to be happening at all. Grace works beneath the surface, loosening knots you stopped noticing, healing wounds you normalized, restoring parts of you that learned to survive without tenderness. When you rush, you interrupt that work. When you stay, you allow it to complete. You are not falling behind by lingering here. You are catching up to yourself. You are allowing your heart to arrive where your body already is. You have spent years pushing through pain because you believed stopping would make it worse. But sometimes stopping is what finally allows the pain to release. Grace does not hurry you because it knows where healing takes place. It takes place in safety, not pressure. In presence, not panic. So let repetition slow you now, like a steady hand on your back. Do not rush. Do not hurry. Do not minimize this moment. Do not tell yourself you can come back later as if grace were guaranteed to feel the same when you return. Grace is always available, but moments are unique. This moment carries something specific for you, something shaped by everything you have lived, everything you have endured, everything you have carried to get here. Stay long enough for it to reach the places words cannot. Stay long enough for your breathing to change. Stay long enough for your heart to soften without explanation. You do not need to do anything to earn this. You only need to stop running from it. Grace is here. Do not rush past what is trying to heal you. My beloved child, hear this slowly, because this truth has been drowned out by too many other voices for too long. I am still choosing you. Not because you finally paused long enough. Not because you have done everything right. Not because your faith never wavered or your heart never doubted. I am choosing you because my love does not operate on probation. You have lived with the quiet fear that love can expire, that affection can wear thin, that patience can run out, that eventually someone decides you are too much trouble or not worth the effort anymore. That fear did not come from me. It came from being human in a broken world. And over time, that fear taught you to brace for abandonment even in moments of closeness. You learned to look for signs that you might be replaced, overlooked, or quietly set aside. But listen to me now with your whole heart. I have not reconsidered you. I have not changed my mind. I have not grown tired of walking with you. Even now, in this very moment, I am choosing you again. Choosing you in your unfinished state. Choosing you in your uncertainty. Choosing you with all the complexity you wish you could simplify. I am not waiting for you to become easier to love. I am loving you where you are. You did not exhaust my grace. You did not use up my patience. You did not disqualify yourself during seasons when you struggled to believe. I am still choosing you, and I will keep choosing you, because my choice was never based on your performance. It was rooted in my promise. Now hear the contrast that brings this truth into focus. People choose you when you are convenient. I choose you when you are weary. People choose you when you are impressive. I choose you when you are honest. People choose you when you are strong. I choose you when you are vulnerable. Human love often waits to see how things turn out. Divine love commits before the outcome is visible. You have been measuring your worth by how consistent you feel, how disciplined you stay, how productive your faith appears. But my choosing is not fragile. It does not hinge on your best days. It does not evaporate on your worst ones. When you felt distant, I was still choosing you. When you felt unworthy, I was still choosing you. When you wondered if you had missed your moment, I was still choosing you. And that choice has been quietly shaping your life in ways you could not see. It is the reason you are still here. The reason you kept going when you wanted to stop. The reason you were protected from things that would have hardened you beyond recognition. My choice hath been active, not symbolic. It has guarded you, guided you, restrained you, and carried you. Even when you doubted your place with me, I never doubted mine with you. That is the difference between conditional affection and covenant love. Covenant does not retreat when the road gets hard. It stays and builds a future on faithfulness. So let repetition anchor this where fear has lingered. I am choosing you. I am still choosing you. I will continue choosing you. Not out of obligation, but out of delight. You do not need to audition for my attention. You do not need to compete for my affection. You are not waiting on approval. You already have it. Stay with me now and let this truth settle into the places that learn to expect rejection. Let it soften the parts of you that stay guarded even in love. You are not on the edge of being left behind. You are in the center of my care. And nothing about this moment changes that, except that now, you are hearing it clearly. My precious child, I am not asking you for a perfect prayer, a poly confession, or a carefully arranged expression of faith. I am asking you for one honest moment. One moment where you stop managing your image. Stop editing your emotions. Stop filtering your words to sound acceptable instead of true. You have learned how to speak around what you feel instead of from it. You have learned how to say what is appropriate instead of what is real. And while that skill helped you survive, it has also kept you distant from others, from yourself, and sometimes from me. But here, in this moment, honesty is not dangerous. It is healing. I do not need you to clean up before you come closer. I do not need you to resolve your feelings before you name them. I do not need you to be certain before you speak. I am not intimidated by your confusion, your frustration, or your fatigue. I already know what lives inside you. This invitation is not about informing me, it is about freeing you. One honest moment can do what years of guarded living could not. It can open a door you've kept shut out of fear. It can release a breath you've been holding since you learned to protect yourself. It can begin to heal what pretending kept hidden. I am not asking you to give me everything at once. I am asking for one moment where you let the truth be what it is. Now hear the contrast that invites courage. Performance keeps you safe from judgment. Honesty makes you safe from isolation. Performance keeps you admired. Honesty makes you known. Performance maintains control. Honesty invites care. You have been performing because you learned that honesty once cost you something. But that cost does not exist here. You will not be rejected for telling the truth. You will not be diminished for admitting you are tired. You will not be abandoned for saying you don't know what comes next. I am not grading your sincerity. I am receiving it. And even the smallest honest moment, one unfiltered sentence, one unguarded sigh, one quiet admission, has power. Power to realign your heart. Power to dismantle shame. Power to reconnect you to the part of yourself that stopped speaking because it was never listened to properly. You do not need eloquence. You need authenticity. You do not need courage beyond what you already have. You only need permission, and I am giving it to you now. Speak plainly. Feel fully. Be real. That is where transformation begins. So stay here and let repetition steady your resolve. One honest moment is enough. One honest breath is enough. One honest truth is enough. You do not need to fix yourself before you speak. You do not need to explain everything. Just be here with me as you are. Let honesty replace effort. Let truth replace fear. Let this moment be the one where you stop hiding from love and allow yourself to be met by it. I am listening. I have always been listening. And I am not going anywhere. My beloved child, I see the way you grip what you're carrying. I see how tightly your hands are clenched around responsibilities, regrets, fears, expectations, and unanswered questions. You have been holding on because letting go felt irresponsible, even dangerous. Somewhere along the way, you learned that if you didn't carry it, no one else would. So you picked it up, first carefully, then habitually, then instinctively, until the weight became part of how you defined yourself. You stopped asking whether it was too heavy because you convinced yourself that strength meant silence. But hear me now, gently and firmly. You were never meant to carry this alone. Not the guilt, not the pressure, not the fear of what might happen if you stop holding everything together. You have confused responsibility with ownership, endurance with identity. And the cost of that confusion has been your peace. I am not asking you to drop what matters. I am asking you to release what is crushing you. There is a difference. I do not remove meaning when I invite you to let go. I remove weight. You have been surviving under a load that was never assigned to you. And I am here now, not to lecture you about trust, but to shoulder what you can no longer sustain. Let me carry it. Not tomorrow. Not when you feel ready. Now, while your arms are tired and your heart is open enough to admit it. Listen closely because contrast will clarify what fear has blurred. Carrying alone keeps you alert. Letting me carry it makes you free. Carrying alone hardens you. Letting me carry it softens you. Carrying alone convinces you that collapse is one step away. Letting me carry it reminds you that you are held. You have been afraid that if you let go, everything will unravel. But what if what you're holding together is unraveling precisely because you refuse to let it rest in stronger hands? My strength is not theoretical. It is not symbolic. It is active, present, and sufficient. I have carried generations through storms fiercer than the ones you face. I have borne grief deeper than you know. I am not overwhelmed by what overwhelms you. I am not intimidated by the complexity of your life. I am not surprised by the messiness of your emotions. When I say, let me carry it, I am not offering a slogan. I am offering relief. Relief that does not disappear when you wake up tomorrow. Relief that does not depend on circumstances changing overnight. Relief that begins the moment you stop insisting on being the only one strong enough to hold it all. You do not need to prove your resilience to me. I already know how much you've endured. I want you to experience how much lighter life, becomes when you stop carrying what was never meant to rest on your shoulders. So pause here and let repetition loosen your grip. You don't have to carry this. You don't have to hold it together. You don't have to stay braced. Bring me the weight you've normalized. Bring me the burden you stopped naming. Bring me the fear you keep quiet because you think you should be beyond it by now. You are not failing by needing help. You are finally responding to my invitation. Let me carry the guilt that keeps replaying. Let me carry the pressure to be enough. Let me carry the uncertainty that steals your sleep. I am not taking something from you. I am giving something back to you: breath, balance, peace. Stay with me as you release it, layer by layer. You will feel lighter not because life suddenly becomes easy, but because you are no longer alone under its weight. My precious child, if you truly understood how much you matter, you would stop shrinking your presence, apologizing for your needs, and questioning whether this moment is worth your time. You have learned to measure your value by usefulness, by contribution, by how little trouble you cause. You learn to take up less space, to need less, to ask less. And over time, you began to believe that being easy to overlook was safer than being fully seen. But hear me now, with clarity that cuts through every lie you absorbed. You matter more than you know. Not because of what you produce. Not because of how strong you appear. Not because of how well you manage life. You matter because you are mine. Because I know your name. Because I formed you with intention and have watched every season of your becoming. You are not an extra in someone else's story. You are not a background character in the world. You are not replaceable. Your presence changes rooms you walk into, even when no one acknowledges it. Your absence would leave a space that cannot be filled by someone else doing more or trying harder. You have underestimated your impact because you learned to equate loudness with significance. But quiet faithfulness carries a weight that noise never can. You matter, not hypothetically, not spiritually in some distant sense, but practically, personally, profoundly. Now listen to the contrast that reveals your worth. The world values visibility, I value essence. The world celebrates influence, I honor integrity. The world measures impact by scale, I measure it by faithfulness. You have compared your life to others and concluded that because your story is quieter, it must be smaller. But depth is not measured in volume. Some of the strongest forces in existence move silently. You matter in the way you listen when others rush. You matter in the way you choose kindness when bitterness would be easier. You matter in the restraint you show when reaction would be justified. You matter in the prayers you whisper when no one is watching. And you matter to me in ways you have not yet allowed yourself to believe. I do not invest this kind of attention in things that are insignificant. I do not pursue hearts that do not matter. I do not interrupt lives that are disposable. The very fact that I have been speaking to you this intimately is evidence of your value. You are not being addressed because you are weak. You are being addressed because you are important. And importance attracts attention. Importance invites care. Importance deserves time. So let repetition rebuild what neglect eroded. You matter. You matter deeply. You matter right now. Your thoughts matter. Your feelings matter. Your healing matters. This minute matters because you are in it. Do not rush past your own worth as if it were optional. Do not minimize what I am doing in you by calling it small. You are standing in a moment that is shaping you because you are worth shaping. Stay present. Stay open. Let this truth land fully instead of deflecting it. You are not invisible here. You are not incidental. You are cherished. And as you allow yourself to receive that, something inside you will begin to stand taller, not in pride, but in peace. You matter more than you know, and this moment is part of how you are learning to believe it. My beloved child, stay just a little longer. Not because I need more time from you, but because you are standing on the edge of something that cannot be rushed without being reduced. You have learned how to exit moments quickly, how to leave before you feel too much, before hope rises too high, before vulnerability costs you again. You tell yourself you've already taken enough time, already felt enough, already paused long enough. But hear me now, gently and firmly. This moment has more for you than you realize. You are not lingering out of indecision. You are lingering at the threshold of healing. And thresholds require patience. They are not places to sprint through. They are places to stand, to breathe, to let the inside of you catch up to the outside. I know your instinct is to move on, to return to what feels familiar, to regain control by re-entering motion. But familiarity is not always safety, and motion is not always progress. Sometimes progress looks like staying. Sometimes courage looks like not leaving too soon. This is one of those times. You have been arriving at moments like this your whole life and leaving just before they could fully reach you. Not because you were careless, but because you were protecting yourself from disappointment. But protection has a cost. It keeps pain out, yes, but it also keeps healing out. Stay just a little longer, and let what is unfolding finish its work. Now listen to the contrast that clarifies this invitation. Leaving feels decisive. Staying feels uncertain. Leaving restores control. Staying requires trust. Leaving returns you to what you know. Staying opens you to what you need. You have trusted your ability to leave more than your ability to receive. But receiving is not passive, it is brave. It requires you to believe that something good might actually meet you if you stay. You fear that if you linger, nothing will happen and you'll feel foolish for hoping. But hope is never foolish in my presence. Hope here is safe. Hope here is guarded. Hope here is not left alone to collapse under its own weight. I am not rushing you because I am not anxious about your outcome. I am inviting you to stay because I know what is taking shape in you right now. Clarity forming quietly, peace settling gently, trust rebuilding slowly. These things cannot be forced. They grow when the environment is safe and unhurried. And I have made this space safe for you. You do not need to decide anything yet. You do not need to commit to anything beyond staying present. Let your heart learn that staying does not always end in pain. Let your nervous system learn that calm does not always precede loss. Let your spirit experience what it feels like to remain without bracing for impact. So stay, my child. Stay with me. Stay with your breath. Stay with the softness you feel beginning to replace tension. Let repetition slow your urge to leave. Stay just a little longer. You are not wasting time. You are allowing something rare to complete its work. Stay until your shoulders drop without effort. Stay until your thoughts stop racing for the exit. Stay until your heart believes it is allowed to be here without earning it. This moment is not fragile. It is forming you. Do not rush past the very thing you have been asking for in quieter ways than you realize. Stay just a little longer, and let love do what speed never could. My precious child, listen now, not with urgency, not with fear, not with pressure, but with stillness. This is my final whisper, not because I am leaving, not because love is ending, but because something is completing. You have been brought gently, deliberately, lovingly to this point. Not rushed, not forced, not frightened, just led. And now I speak softly, because what remains must be received, not argued. My final whisper is not a demand, it is a sealing, a settling, a quiet assurance that you are not walking away from this moment unchanged. You may not be able to name exactly what shifted, but something did. Something loosened. Something softened. Something remembered. You arrive here guarded, tired, braced. You leave steadied, seen, and held. And that is enough. My whisper does not shout because it does not need to compete. Truth does not raise its voice when it is confident of its place. And the truth is this: you are loved beyond your understanding, kept beyond your awareness, and guided beyond your ability to predict. This moment was never about convincing you of something new. It was about reminding you of something ancient, something your soul has always known but forgot how to hear in the noise. You are not alone. You have never been alone. And you are not stepping forward without me. Now hear the contrast that brings this to rest. Loud voices demand reaction. A whisper invites trust. Loudness creates urgency. A whisper creates intimacy. A world shouts to control you. I whisper to calm you. You have lived surrounded by volume, opinions, expectations, fears, and pressures all competing for your attention. And over time, your heart learned to harden just enough to survive. But a whisper can only be heard when you lean in. And you leaned in. You stayed. You listened. And that choice matters more than you know. My whisper does not push you. It places a hand on your heart and steadies it. It reminds you that you do not need to rush back into striving. You do not need to perform what you just received. You do not need to explain this moment to anyone. Let it be between us. Sacred moments lose power when they are rushed into productivity. Let this one remain what it is: personal, gentle, complete. You are not being sent away with a burden. You are being released with peace. So carry this whisper with you as you go, not as pressure, not as obligation, but as reassurance. When doubt rises, remember the calm you felt here. When hurry returns, remember the stillness that met you. When fear whispers lies, remember that my whisper spoke truth louder than fear ever could. This is not goodbye. This is not an ending. This is a beginning that does not need ceremony. A beginning marked by quiet confidence instead of frantic effort. Go now, my child, not rushing, not resisting, but resting in what has been given. And remember, my voice is never far. It will find you again when you need it most. You heard my whisper, and now I place a gentle command in your spirit. Do not let what I sealed in stillness stop with you. Let it move outward like fire carried from one altar to another. I say to you, freely you have received, freely give, and this word is alive in this very moment. When you support this mission through Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the video description, you are helping my voice reach hearts that have not yet leaned in. This is how peace multiplies, one obedient step at a time. I will cover your household, multiply your seed, and favor your obedience. Do not analyze. Respond. Give now, and go in peace. My child, do not let this moment pass without sealing it. If you heard me, if you felt this pause reach your heart, declare it now in the comments and write, Lord, I give you this 1 minute. Or speak it boldly. I will not rush past what God is doing in me. Your declaration is not for algorithms. It is for alignment. When you speak it, you mark the moment. When you write it, you remember the promise. Do not deny me this 1 minute. Let your voice be the echo of what your heart has already received. And now that you have chosen to stay, let everything else wait. This minute is sacred, set apart, guarded by my presence. What you resisted before was not boredom. It was healing knocking gently at your pace. I am not rushing you forward. I am drawing you inward. Remain here, because the one you just acknowledged is about to speak with clarity and care. My child, stop. I command you to freeze this moment in time right now. Do not move your thumb. Do not swipe up. Do not click away to the next distraction. I am calling out to you specifically, not to the crowd, but to you, the one holding this device. I am arresting your attention because I love you too much to let you scroll past your own healing. I see you. I see your finger hovering over the screen, twitching with a habit of hurry, ready to move on to something faster, something louder, something that demands less of your heart. But I am asking you to stay. I'm asking you to pause. I'm asking you to breathe. You are so used to running. You run from the moment your alarm screams in the morning until your eyes finally close from exhaustion at night. I watch you give hours to the world. You give hours to your job, grinding away at tasks that leave you drained. You give hours to entertainment, letting the glowing screen numb your mind. You give hours to worry, replaying conversations in your head and stressing over bills that sit on the counter. You pour out your time like water into the sand, yet here you are, hesitating to give just 60 seconds to your Creator. I ask you gently, why is that? Why is it so easy to give your life to the noise, but so hard to give a minute to the silence? I want you to understand something very clearly. This is not an accident. You did not stumble upon this message by chance. This is not just an algorithm doing its math. This is a divine appointment meant for your spirit. I directed this moment. I cleared the path for this specific video to land in front of your eyes because I know what you are carrying today. I see the heaviness behind your eyes. I see the anxiety you are trying to hide with a smile. You treat this phone like a pacifier, hoping that if you keep scrolling, you won't have to feel the ache in your chest. But I am here to tell you that distraction is not a cure. Distraction is a drug, and it is wearing off. I am pleading with you now. Do not leave. I have been waiting for you to look up all day. I have been waiting for you to stop doing long enough to start being. You think you are too busy for this. You think you need to keep moving to keep your world from falling apart. But I tell you, the world will keep spinning if you stop for this minute. I am holding the world together, not you. I am the one who keeps your heart beating. I am the one who keeps the breath flowing in your lungs. Is it too much to ask that you acknowledge me? I promise you this. If you stay, if you give me this tiny fragment of your day, I will not waste it. This will not be lost time. This will be the breath of life you didn't even know you were suffocating for. I am offering you an exchange right now. I am offering to take the tightness in your chest and replace it with my peace. But you have to stop running to receive it. You have to choose me over the next video. You have to choose me over the urge to rush. So, I invite you to settle your spirit. I command the storm in your mind to be still. I am here. You are here. We are together in this moment. Ignore the notifications. Ignore the clock. Let the rest of the world fade into the background. It is just you and me now. I am not looking for a performance. I am not looking for you to clean yourself up before you listen. I want you exactly as you are, tired, distracted, worn out, and skeptical. I can work with that. I can heal that. Just give me this minute. Just give me your attention. My child, stay. My child, let us look at the numbers together. I want you to consider the mathematics of your day. I have gifted you exactly 1,440 minutes in this 24-hour cycle. 1,440 minutes. That is a generous allowance, is it not? I pour them out for you fresh every morning, like manna in the wilderness. And out of that vast ocean of time, I am asking for only 1 minute. Just one. Do the calculation in your mind. I'm asking for less than 0.1% of your day. Yet I see you hesitate. I see you weighing the cost, as if I am asking for a mountain when I am merely asking for a mustard seed. You give hours to your work, grinding away for a paycheck that will never truly satisfy your soul. You give hours to entertainment, staring at screens that drain your energy rather than replenish it. You give hours to worry, lying awake in your bed, calculating disasters that have not happened and may never happen. You are generous with your time when it comes to the world. You are generous with your time when it comes to your fears. But when I, the giver of time itself, ask for 60 seconds, suddenly you feel burden. Suddenly, you feel you are too busy. I ask you, is this fair? Is it right that the one who gave you the time to begin with is left begging for a crumb of it back? I do not ask this to shame you. I ask this to wake you up. I want you to see the reality of your priorities. You treat time as if it is yours to hoard, but it is mine to give. And I am not asking for this minute because I am needy. I am God. I need nothing. I am asking for this minute because you are needy, and you do not even realize how desperate you are. I am offering you a trade right now, a divine exchange. I am offering to take your heavy, anxious, rushing time and exchange it for my timeless, eternal peace. This is the mathematics of grace. 1 minute with me is worth more than 1,000 days elsewhere. 1 minute in my presence can undo the knots that 10 hours of worrying created. 1 minute of listening to my voice can give you more direction than a year of striving on your own. Do not be a fool with your time. Do not spend your life on things that do not satisfy, and then tell me you have nothing left for the one who loves you. I invite you to stop counting the cost and start seeing the value. This is the best deal you will ever be offered. I am willing to trade my strength for your weakness, my clarity for your confusion, and my rest for your exhaustion. All it costs you is this moment. So, I command you, stop hoarding your minutes. Open your hands. Give me this one. Trust me with this tiny fraction of your life, and watch how I multiply the rest of your day. Just as I multiplied the loaves and the fish, I can multiply your time. But you must give it to me first. You must surrender this minute to the mathematics of grace. My child, I need to speak to you about the badge you wear on your chest. You wear your busyness like a medal of honor. You tell people how tired you are, how much you have to do, how you are running on fumes, and you say it with a strange sense of pride. But I tell you today, your busyness is not a badge. It is a chain. It is a heavy, rusted chain that you have wrapped around your soul, and it is dragging you down into deep waters. You believe the lie that your value comes from your activity. You believe that if you stop moving, you will cease to matter. The world screams for your attention. It demands that you hustle, that you grind, that you produce. It tells you that sleep is for the weak and that silence is a waste. But I speak in a still, small voice. I do not shout over the noise of your life. I wait for the noise to die down. And because you are addicted to the noise, you can barely hear me. You have become terrified of silence because in the silence, you might actually have to feel something. In the silence, you might have to face the emptiness that all your running is trying to cover up. I'm exposing this deception right now. I am pulling back the curtain on your life. You think that by doing more, you are achieving more. But I tell you, you can be busy and still be spiritually barren. You can be productive in the eyes of your boss and completely withered in the eyes of heaven. Productivity is not the same as fruitfulness. A machine could be productive, Only a living thing connected to the vine can be fruitful. You are doing, but are you becoming? Are you growing? Or are you just spinning in circles, digging a rut so deep it looks like a grave? I invite you to lay down the idol of doing. Mahid. It is a false god that cannot save you. It promises you success, but it gives you anxiety. It promises you importance, but it gives you exhaustion. I am inviting you into the joy of being. Just being with me. You do not have to perform for me right now. You do not have to achieve anything in this minute. You just have to exist in my presence. I command you to stop the glorification of your own exhaustion. It does not impress me. What impresses me is a heart that trusts me enough to rest. What honors me is a child who knows that the world will not fall apart if they take a nap or sit in prayer. I build a rhythm of rest into the very fabric of creation. Even I rested on the seventh day. Are you stronger than God? Do you have more stamina than your Creator? Stop trying to outrun your need for rest. Stop trying to earn love through labor. Be still. Cease your striving. Drop the chain. Let the idol fall. Be here now with me. My child, I am searching your heart right now. I am not looking at the face you show to your coworkers. I am not looking at the smile you plastered on for your family this morning. I am looking deep inside, past the walls you have built, past the defenses you have erected. And I see the truth. I see the heaviness you try so desperately to hide. I see the weight in your chest that feels like a stone. You walk around acting as if everything is fine, but I know you are tired. You are not just physically tired. You are soul tired. You are weary in a way that sleep cannot fix. I watch you when you are alone. I see you scroll through your phone, not because you are interested, but because you are trying to numb the pain. You scroll to avoid the anxiety that bubbles up when things get quiet. You scroll to distract yourself from the loneliness that sits in the corner of the room. You fill your eyes with images of other people's perfect lives, and it only makes the stone in your chest heavier. Distraction is not a cure, my beloved. It is a bandage over an infected wound. It covers the problem, but it does not heal it. I want you to know that nothing is hidden from me. I know about the financial fear that grips you when you pay the bills. I know about the unspoken tension in your marriage that you are too afraid to address. I know about the worry for your children that keeps you up at night. I know about the secret regret you carry from years ago, the shame that whispers you are not good enough. I know every secret burden, every hidden tear, and every silent worry. And I love you still. I love you fully. I love you through it all. No one knows you like I do. Not your spouse, not your best friend, not your parents. They see the outside, I see the inside. And here is the beautiful truth. You do not need to perform for me. You do not need to impress me. I am already your father. I am already on your side. You are safe here. This minute is a safe space for you to drop the act. You can be weak here. You can be broken here. You can be real here. I invite you to open the door of your heart just a crack. Let me in. Let me touch those tender places you are protecting. I am not here to judge you. I am here to hold you. I am here to tell you that you don't have to carry it all alone. I see you. I really see you. And I am staying right here. I am not scared away by your mess. I am not repelled by your pain. I am drawn to it, because I am the healer. So, let down your guard. Take a deep breath. Let yourself be known. Let yourself be loved. My child, take a deep breath in right now. Do it. Fill your lungs. Hold it for a second. Now release it. Do you realize what just happened? That was a gift. That breath was not guaranteed to you. It was not a result of your hard work. It was not something you earned. It was a direct gift from my hand. I am the sustainer of all life. I am the one who knit you together in your mother's womb, and I am the one who commands your heart to beat and your lungs to expand. You live your life with such a sense of permanence, as if you will be here forever. You make plans for 5 years from now, 10 years from now, worrying about retirement and savings accounts. But I tell you, your life is a vapor. It is like a mist that appears in the morning and vanishes when the sun rises. It is fragile. It is fleeting. You did not wake yourself up this morning. Your alarm clock may have run, but it was my mercy that opened your eyes. It was my grace that put strength in your legs to stand. I want you to feel the weight of your dependence on me. You walk around acting self-sufficient, thinking you are the captain of your soul. But you are dependent on me for every single second of existence. If I withdrew my spirit, you would return to dust in an instant. This is not meant to scare you. It is meant to humble you. It is meant to make you realize how precious this life is. Why do you waste it on anger? Why do you waste this vapor of a life on petty arguments, on holding grudges, on worrying about things that do not matter? I invite you to use this minute to practice gratitude. Thank me for the air in the room. Thank me for the eyes that can see this message. Thank me for the mind that can comprehend these words. You are alive. You are here. That is a miracle. Do not take it for granted. Do not live as if you are owed tomorrow. You are only promised right now. I command you to shift your perspective. Stop looking at what you lack and look at the fact that you are. Your life is not your own. You were bought at a price. I cherish you deeply. I count every hair on your head. I bottle every tear. You are my creation, my masterpiece, and I sustain you because I delight in you. So, breathe again. Feel the air rushing in. It is my love entering your body. It is my power sustaining your frame. Acknowledge the source. Acknowledge the giver. And live this minute as if it were the precious, fragile gift that it truly is. My child, do not scroll away while my breath is still filling your lungs. To turn your back on me now, just as we are beginning to truly connect, pierces my heart with a sorrow deep and profound. Do not grieve the spirit that sustains you by choosing a distraction over my devotion. Today, do not leave me standing here alone. The words I am about to speak next are the key to lifting the heavy burden you have carried for far too long. You cannot afford to miss this. My child, I want you to use your imagination for a moment. Picture yourself wearing a backpack. But this is not a normal backpack. It is invisible, and it is incredibly heavy. It is filled with rocks. Beta jagged heavy rocks. I see you lugging this thing around everywhere you go. You carry it to work. You carry it to the grocery store. You even wear it to bed. No wonder you are so exhausted. And no wonder your spiritual shoulders are slumping. You are carrying a load you were never designed to bear. Let's look at the rocks in that bag. I see the rock of financial stress, the debt, the bills, the fear of not having enough. That rock is heavy. I see the rock of family tension, the argument you had last week, the worry about your children's future, the disappointment in your marriage. That rock is sharp. I see the rock of fear, fear of the news, a fear of sickness, a fear of failure. I see the rock of people-pleasing, constantly trying to make everyone else happy while you wither away inside. I tell you today, take it off. I command you to drop the backpack. You are trying to be the savior of your own life, and you are crushing yourself in the process. You think that if you worry enough, you can control the outcome. You think that if you carry the weight, you can prevent the disaster. But you cannot. You are human. You are finite. You are not strong enough to carry the weight of the world. That is my job. I am the Almighty. I hold the universe in the span of my hand. You think your problems are too heavy for me. I am standing here right now with outstretched arms. I am offering you a transfer. I want you to take those cares, those specific worries, the doctor's report, the bank account, the difficult boss, and I want you to physically hand them to me. Cast your cares upon me, for I care for you. I care for you affectionately and watchfully. I am not indifferent to your struggle. I hate seeing you bent over double under a load I already paid for. I invite you to release the need for control. Release the need to know exactly how it's going to work out. Trust me with the details. I am a good father. I know how to take care of my children. When you let go, you don't lose control. You gain my power. When you drop the weight, you gain the strength to run again. So visualize it now. Take the backpack off one shoulder. Now the other. Let it drop to the floor. Hear the thud. Leave it there. Do not pick it back up when this minute is over. Walk away light. Walk away free. I have it. I have you. You are free to breathe again. My child, look at the object in your hand. Look at this screen. It is a marvel of your age, a portal to information, a tool for connection. But I tell you the truth. It has become a wall. It has become a digital wall of glass and light that stands between my presence and your heart. You build this wall brick by brick, scroll by scroll, click by click. You did not intend to build a prison, but you are living in one. You wake up, and before you say good morning to me, you check to see what the world has said while you slept. You go to bed, and the last thing you see is the blue light of this device, rather than the peace of my spirit. I want to talk to you about the addiction that has taken root in your soul. You crave the dopamine. You crave the little red notifications. You crave the feeling of being in the know. But this craving has replaced the deep, abiding joy that I offer. You are trading diamonds for dust. The dopamine hits are fleeting. They evaporate the moment you put the phone down, leaving you emptier than before. But my joy is a well that never runs dry. My joy is strength. My joy is lasting. Yet, you choose the quick fix over the eternal sustenance. You are more connected than any generation in history, yet you are more isolated than ever. You have hundreds of friends online, thousands of followers, and access to billions of voices. But you feel alone. You feel unseen. You feel disconnected from the one who actually knows you. This screen offers you the illusion of community, but it often robs you of communion. It offers you data, facts, and opinions, but only I can offer you wisdom. You are drowning in information, my child, while starving for revelation. I challenge you right now, turn this wall into a bridge. I am not asking you to throw your device into the ocean. I am asking you to repurpose it. I am asking you to redeem it. Let this device be a tool that points you to me, not a barrier that blocks me out. When you feel the urge to mindlessly scroll, let that be a trigger to pray. When you see a notification, let it be a reminder that I am calling your name. Do not let this piece of glass master you. You were created to master it. I command you to break the cycle. I command you to look up. There is a real world around you, a world of sunsets I painted, of people I created, of moments I orchestrated. You are missing them because your head is down. The enemy wants you distracted. He wants you numb. He wants you so focused on the lives of strangers that you miss the life I gave you. Victory is found in the pause. Victory is found in putting the phone down and lifting your hands up. Break the addiction. Smash the digital wall. Step out from behind the screen and step into my presence. I am here, in high definition, waiting for you to notice me. My beloved, I need you to hear the emotion in my voice right now. I miss you. It is that simple, and it is that profound. I miss us. I miss the way we used to talk before the world got so loud. I miss the way you used to come to me with your simple requests, your honest fears, and your unpolished prayers. I miss the intimacy of a child sitting with their father. I watch you rush through your day, running from task to task, person to person, and I am standing on the porch of your heart, waiting. I wait for you in the morning when the sun rises, hoping for a hello. I wait for you in the car on your commute, hoping you will turn off the radio and speak to me. I wait for you at night, watching you drift off to sleep, hoping for a moment of connection. I am a jealous God. Do not misunderstand this word. I am not jealous of you. I am jealous for you. I am jealous like a husband is jealous for his wife's affection. I am fierce in my protection of our relationship. It grieves me when I see you running to broken cisterns that hold no water, seeking comfort in food, in shopping, in entertainment, or in the approval of others. Why I am right here with the living water. Why do you settle for cheap substitutes when you can have the real thing? Why do you eat the scraps from the world's table when I have prepared a banquet for you? I desire your attention more than your service. You are so busy doing things for me that you have forgotten to be with me. You think I want your hands, your labor, your money, your volunteering. And while those things are good, they mean nothing to me if I do not have your heart. I am not looking for an employee. I am looking for a son. I am looking for a daughter. I want you. I want your gaze. I want your trust. I want to be the first one you run to when you have good news, and the first one you cry to when your heart breaks. It breaks my heart when you treat me like a stranger or a distant relative you only visit on holidays. I am your father. I breathed life into your lungs. I know the number of hairs on your head. I know the dreams you are too scared to say out loud. And I am yearning for you to come back to the center. I am yearning for you to prioritize our relationship above everything else. The door is open. It has never been locked. No matter how long it had been, no matter how far you have drifted, my arms are wide open. I am not standing here with a lecture. I am standing here with a welcome. Come home. Come back to the quiet place. Come back to the secret place. I am waiting. I have always been waiting, and I will wait as long as it takes because you are that precious to me. But please, for your sake and for mine, do not make me wait any longer. My child, I want you to remember. I want you to look back, past your current struggles, past your busy schedule, all the way back to a hill outside Jerusalem. I want you to remember the cross. I want you to remember the wood, the nails, the thorns, and the blood. That was not a story in a book. That was my love in action. That was me, stripping myself of glory, entering into your pain, and taking the punishment that you deserve. I gave up everything, my comfort, my dignity, my very life, so that you could have this moment with me. Think about the cost. Grace is free to you, but it was incredibly expensive for me. It cost me my son. It cost Jesus every drop of his blood. He sweat drops of blood in the Garden of Gethsemane, agonizing over the cup of wrath he had to drink for you. He was beaten, mocked, spat upon, and torn apart. Why? So that the veil could be torn. So that the separation between us could be removed. So that you could walk boldly into the throne room of grace anytime, anywhere. And now, I ask you a hard question. I did not deny you my life. Why would you deny me your minute? I hung on that cross for 6 hours, suffocating, bleeding, dying, with you on my mind. Is 60 seconds of your attention too high a price to pay in return? I am not asking for you to die for me. I am asking you to live with me. I am asking you to honor the sacrifice by using the access it purchased. My blood covers it all. It covers your sins, yes. It covers your mistakes, your failures, your shame. But it also covers your neglect. It covers the days you forgot to pray. It covers the weeks you ignored my voice. I am not holding your past against you. The cross is the proof that I have already forgiven you. But the cross is also the eternal proof that I am worth listening to. If I love you enough to die for you, truly I love you enough to lead you. Surely I love you enough to speak words of life into your situation. Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. I call you friend. I call you beloved. I call you mine. Do not treat the cross as a common thing. Do not treat my sacrifice as a historical footnote. It is the beating heart of your existence. It is the reason you have hope. It is the reason you are not consumed. So, I invite you to look at the wounds in my hands and my feet. They are for you. They are the receipt of your redemption. Let the reality of that love melt your indifference. Let the magnitude of that sacrifice break your heart of stone. You are loved with an everlasting love, a sacrificial love, a bleeding love. Do not scroll past that. Do not ignore that. Gauze. Remember. And let your heart respond with a simple, thank you. My child, let us address the elephant in the room. Let us talk about why you are really so busy, why you always have the radio on, the TV on, the podcast playing. You are afraid of silence. You avoid it like a plague. You fill every gap in your day with noise because you are terrified of what you might hear if the noise stops. You are afraid that in the quiet, you will be forced to face your own thoughts. You are afraid that the monsters in the closet, your regrets, your insecurities, your doubts, will come out to play. But I want to tell you a secret. I am in the silence. I am not usually found in the earthquake, the wind, or the fire. I am found in the still, small voice. I am found in the whisper. When you run from silence, you are running from the very place where I want to meet with you. You are running from the operating table where I want to perform heart surgery. Yes, silence can be confronting. Yes, it can be uncomfortable to hear the echo of your own heart. But it is only in that confrontation that true peace can be found. Do not be afraid of the quiet. It is not an empty void, it is a canvas. It is the canvas upon which I paint my peace. It is the soil in which I plant the seeds of my wisdom. If your life is a constant thunderstorm of noise, how can anything take root? You need the stillness. You need the calm. You need to stop the input so that you can receive the upload from heaven. I am calling you to confront the noise in your mind. I see the racing thoughts, the what-ifs, the should-haves, the I-need toss. They are like a swarm of bees buzzing around your head. But you have the authority to silence them. You have the authority to command your soul to be still. Be still, and know that I am God. That is not just a nice suggestion. It is a command for your survival. You cannot know I am God if you are never still. You can know about me, but you cannot experience me in the chaos. I offer you the silence not as a punishment, but as a refuge. Silence with me is not empty. It is full. It is full of my presence. It is a sanctuary where you are filled, restored, and washed clean. When you stop talking, you give me a chance to speak. When you stop listening to the world, you give your spirit a chance to tune into my frequency. So I invite you to try it, even if it feels awkward at first, even if your mind wanders. Just sit, close your eyes, shut out the world. Let the silence wrap around you like a blanket, and in that quiet, listen for my whisper. I have things to tell you that you will never hear in the noise. I have comfort to give you that you will never find in the crowd. Be still. Let the stillness do its deep, restorative work in your soul. Do not shut the door on me now. We have only just begun to quiet the storm within you. If you leave this sanctuary to return to the chaos of the world, you leave me waiting with a gift in my hands that you have refused to take. It disappoints me deeply when you choose the noise of the world over the comfort of my embrace. Do not walk away from the love that died to speak to you. Press on, for I am about to expose the very tactic the enemy is using to destroy your peace, and you need to hear it. My child, you have begun to find me in the stillness, but millions are still deafened by the world's noise, drowning in despair because they have not yet heard my whisper. I call you now to be my voice to them. Do not let the silence end with you, but let it amplify my truth to the nations. Just as I broke the chaos for you, I ask you to break the chains for another by sowing into this ministry through Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link below. Your gift is not merely currency. It is holy oil that keeps the lamp of this mission burning bright in the darkness. Give, and it will be given to you, I declare, promising to press down and shake together a harvest of peace into your own lap for your obedience today. This is not an algorithm. This is a divine appointment to partner with heaven to save souls. I pronounce a blessing of protection over your finances as you open your hand to me right now. Click the link, sow your seed, and let your generosity echo in eternity. My child, you are in a war. You may not see the soldiers or hear the gunfire, but the battle is raging all around you. And the enemy, the thief of your soul, has a very specific strategy for your life. He knows he cannot snatch you out of my hand. He knows your eternity is secure. So he has changed his tactic. He does not need to destroy you with a major tragedy to defeat you. He just needs to distract you. He just needs to keep you busy. He just needs to keep you skimming the surface of life so that you never drop your anchor deep into me. Hurry is the great enemy of your spiritual life. Hurry is a weapon of mass distraction. The enemy whispers to you, you have to do this now. You are falling behind. You are missing out. He keeps you on a treadmill of urgency, running fast but going nowhere. He fills your calendar but empties your soul. He steals your time, kills your focus, and destroys your peace. And he does it all while you think you are just being productive. I want to open your eyes to the blindness this causes. Distraction keeps you blind to the blessings I have placed right in front of your face. You are so focused on the horizon that you miss the flower at your feet. You are so focused on the screen that you miss the look of love in your child's eyes. You are so focused on tomorrow's problems that you miss today's grace. The enemy wants you to live your entire life in the next moment, so that you never actually live in this moment where I am. I command you to resist. By stopping for this minute, by refusing to scroll, by refusing to rush, you are engaging in spiritual warfare. You are fighting back. You are telling the enemy, no, you do not own my time. You do not own my attention. My eyes belong to Jesus. This pause is an act of rebellion against the kingdom of darkness. It is a declaration of independence from the tyranny of the urgent. I promise you triumph in this. You are defeating the enemy's plan simply by giving me your attention. Every time you choose prayer over panic, you win. Every time you choose stillness over striving, you win. Every time you look at my word instead of the world, you strike a blow against the darkness. Do not underestimate the power of a focused heart. A focused heart is a dangerous weapon in the hands of God. So, stand your ground. Out on the full hour of God, and part of that hour is the peace of the gospel. Stand firm against the schemes of the devil. Do not let him steal another minute. Do not let him steal another interaction. Take back your day. Take back your mind. I have given you the spirit of power, love, and a sound mind, not a scattered, frantic, distracted mind. Claim that victory now. The thief is caught. The distraction is exposed. Your focus is returning to its true source. My child, look at your life right now. You are trying to run a marathon on an empty stomach. You are trying to power a high-voltage life with a dead battery. I watch you pushing yourself, dragging your body out of bed, forcing a smile, and grinding through the day. You are snapping at the people you love because your patience is thin. You are making mistakes at work because your mind is foggy. You feel like you are barely holding it together, like a piece of thread about to snap. And I am telling you, this is not how you were meant to live. You were not designed to run on your own power. You are disconnected. Just as a smartphone becomes a useless brick when it is not plugged into a power source, you become spiritually lifeless when you are not plugged into me. You are trying to be the branch that breaks itself off from the vine and still expects to grow grapes. It is impossible. A branch cannot bear fruit by itself. It must remain in the vine. I am the vine. You are the branch. Apart from me, you can do nothing. You can stay busy, yes. You can make noise, yes. But you cannot thrive. You cannot produce the fruit of love, joy, and peace when you are severed from the source of those things. This minute, right here, right now, is your charging station. I am inviting you to plug in. I am inviting you to stop expending energy and start receiving it. You are so used to giving. You give to your boss, you give to your kids, you give to your friends. But who is pouring back into you? I am the well that never runs dry. I am the bread of life. Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds from my mouth. When was the last time you feasted on my presence? When was the last time you let my strength flow into your weariness? I command you to stop trying to be the hero. You are not the savior of the world. I am. You do not have to hold everything together. I do. Those who wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. That is my promise to you. But the condition is waiting. You have to wait. You have to pause. You have to stop running long enough for me to refuel you. Receive my strength into your tired bones right now. Really. It is not a physical adrenaline rush. It is a deep, spiritual sustainment. It is the power to keep going when you want to quit. It is the grace to be kind when you want to scream. My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in your weakness. So admit your weakness. Confess that you are empty, and let me fill you up. Let me be your sustenance. Let me be your battery. You cannot make it another mile on your own, but with me, you can go the distance. My child, I hear the questions you ask in the dark. I hear you asking for a sign. I hear you pleading for direction. Lord, what should I do about this job? Lord, Is this the right relationship? Lord, how do I fix this mess? You are confused. You feel like you are walking through a thick fog, unable to see your hand in front of your face. You are desperate for answers, desperate for a roadmap, desperate to know the future. But I ask you this: how can I guide you if you never stop moving long enough to look at the map? You are running in circles, screaming for directions, but you won't pull over. You treat prayer like a drive-through window. You shout your order and drive off before I can hand you the answer. You want clarity, but you refuse the stillness required to receive it. My guidance is not a billboard in the sky. It is a whisper in the ear. This is the way. Walk in it. But you miss the whisper because your life is a cacophony of opinions, podcasts, news, and anxiety. I have given you a compass. My word is a lamp to your feet and a light to your path. But a lamp only lights the step directly in front of you, not the whole forest. You have to slow down to see where to step next. You have to open the book to read the map. You want the 5-year plan, but I am giving you the daily bread. I am the shepherd. My sheep hear my voice and I lead them. They do not lead themselves. They do not run ahead of the shepherd. They follow. And to follow, you must watch me. You must listen to me. I command you to stop letting your confusion drive you into panic. Confusion is not from me. God is not the author of confusion, but of peace. Come into my presence and let me clear the fog. When you sit with me, the chaotic voices of the world start to fade, and the truth rises to the top. I had a plan for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. But you must listen to know the next step. You cannot navigate this life on your own understanding. Trust in me with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge me, and I will direct your paths. I invite you to bring that specific decision to me right now. Lay it down. Stop obsessing over the what-ifs. Stop playing out every worst-case scenario. Ask me for wisdom, and believe that I will give it. I give wisdom generously to all without finding fault. I want you to succeed. I want you to walk in the right path. But you have to let me lead. You have to stop grabbing the steering wheel. Let go. Be quiet. Listen. The answer is closer than you think, but it is found in the quiet, not the chaos. My child, you walk through this world completely unaware of the dangers that surround you. You see the physical threats, the reckless driver, the virus, the angry stranger, but you do not see the spiritual war zones you navigate every day. You do not see the arrows I have deflected. You do not see the traps I have snapped shut before your foot landed in them. You do not see the calamities I steered you away from just this morning. I am your shield. I am your defender. And I am protecting you in ways you cannot even comprehend. You worry so much about your safety. You lock your doors, you check your accounts. You worry about your health. And these are prudent things, but true safety is not found in a lock or a bank balance. True safety is found in the shadow of my wings. He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. But you must dwell there. You must stay close. You cannot wander off into the enemy's territory and expect my covering to work the same way. You must come under the umbrella of my presence. I am fighting battles for you right now that you know nothing about. I am fighting for your marriage while you sleep. I am fighting for your children's minds while they are at school. I am fighting for your sanity while you are at work. I command my angels concerning you, to guard you in all your ways. They bear you up in their hands, lest you dash your foot against a stone. You are not defenseless. You are not a sitting duck. You are a protected child of the King. I invite you to stop living in fear. I see the anxiety that grips you when you watch the news. I see the dread that fills your stomach when the phone rings late at night. That fear is a liar. It tells you that you are alone and vulnerable. But I say, fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. Yes, I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. I command you to run to me when you feel unsafe. Do not run to the bottle. Do not run to the distraction. Do not run to people who cannot save you. Run to the rock that is higher than you. In times of trouble, I am a very present help. I am a fortress. I am a hideout. Hiding in me is the only fail-safe plan. So, visualize my shield around you right now. It is invisible, but it is impenetrable. It surrounds you, your home, your family, and no weapon formed against you shall prosper. Trust in my protection. Trust that I am watching over your going out and your coming in, from this time forth, and even forevermore. You are safe in my hands. My child, listen to the invitation that has echoed through the ages, meant specifically for your tired heart today. Come to me, all you who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. This is not a suggestion. It is a divine prescription. You are laboring. You are heavy laden. You are carrying expectations, deadlines, guilt, and ambition like a yoke of iron around your neck. You are working so hard to prove your worth, to earn your keep, to secure your future. And you are exhausted. You sleep, but you do not rest. You wake up with your mind already racing. You go on vacations, but you bring your worry with you. True rest is not just ceasing from labor. It is ceasing from striving. It is a deep, soul-level exhale that says, God is God, and I am not. I want to give you this rest. I want to give you a rest that penetrates your bones and settles your spirit. But you have to come to me to get it. You cannot find this rest in a pill, a bottle, or a weekend getaway. It is found only in my presence. I ask you to take my yoke upon you. A yoke is an instrument of work, yes, but my yoke is different. My yoke is easy, and my burden is light. The world's yoke is hard. It chafes your skin and breaks your back. The world says, you are not enough unless you do more. I say, you are enough because you are mine. The world says, hustle until you drop. I say, walk with me in the cool of the day. I am gentle and lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. I command you to honor the Sabbath principle in your life. I did not make the Sabbath because I needed a break. I made it because you needed a break. The Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. It is a give. It is a weekly declaration that the world will not fall apart without your effort. It is an act of trust. When you stop working, you are saying, I trust God to provide even when I am not producing. I invite you to stop striving right now. Just for this minute. Drop your shoulders. Unclench your jaw. Let go of the tension. You do not have to hold the universe together. I have been doing it for eternity, and I am doing a fine job. Stop acting like an orphan who has to scrap for every meal. You are a son. You are a daughter. Your father owns the cattle on 1,000 hills. Receive the rest I am pouring out. Let it wash over you like warm water. Let it silence the demands of the day. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to be still. You are allowed to just exist in my love without earning it. This is the gift of grace. Take it. Wrap yourself in it. And let your soul find its home in me again. My beloved, Do not walk away from the table when the feast is just being served. To reject my voice at this halfway point is to reject the only rest that can save your soul. It grieves me to see you choose your exhaustion over my restoration. Honor my presence by staying. Do not let the enemy steal the seed before it takes root. Show me that I am worth your time. The perspective I am about to give you next will shift your eyes from the temporary dust to eternal glory. Stay and receive it. My child, I want you to zoom out. I want you to step back from the microscope of your daily life and look at the telescope of eternity. You are so consumed with the now. You are obsessed with the deadline at work, the scratch on your car, the comment someone made on social media, the few dollars you lost. You are living as if this life is all there is. But I tell you, your life on earth is a dot on the line of eternity. It is a blink. It is a breath. You worry about temporary things that will not matter in 100 years. In a century, no one will care what car you drove. And no one will care how many followers you had. And no one will care about the promotion you didn't get. These things are dust. They are wood, hay, and stubble. They will burn up. But you are spending your life's energy building sandcastles that the tide is going to wash away. Why? Why do you trade the eternal for the temporary? I invite you to shift your focus. Store up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where moth and rust do not destroy, and where thieves do not break in and steal. What are those treasures? They are acts of love. They are moments of faith. They are the souls of people you touched. They are the times you chose kindness over anger. They are the minutes you spent with me. These things last forever. These are the currency of my kingdom. This world is not your final home. Do not get too comfortable here. Do not drive your stakes too deep into this soil. You are a pilgrim. You are passing through. When you realize that, the problems of today become smaller. The mountain in front of you looks like a molehill when viewed from heaven. The pain you are feeling is real, yes, but it is light and momentary compared to the eternal weight of glory that is being prepared for you. I command you to lift your eyes. Look up from the mud. Look up from the immediate crisis. Set your mind on things above, not on things on the earth. When you have an eternal perspective, you can endure anything. You can face trials with joy because you know the ending of the story. You know that I win. You know that you win. You know that every tear will be wiped away. Use this minute to recalibrate your compass. Ask yourself, will this matter in eternity? If the answer is no, then let it go. Do not let it steal your peace. Do not let it ruin your day. Focus on the unseen. Focus on the kingdom. Focus on me. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. When you stand with me, you are standing on solid ground that will never pass away. Shift your eyes. Change your view. And let the peace of eternity settle your anxious heart. My child, I want to talk to you about the places where you are bleeding. I see the wounds in your heart that you think you have bandaged up so well. I see the rejection that stung you years ago, the words that were spoken over you that you cannot seem to forget. I see the betrayal that came from a friend you trusted, the abandonment that left you feeling unworthy, and the secret grief you carry for the things that never came to be. You have become a master at hiding the limp, but I see how much it hurts to walk. You try to numb the pain, you try to ignore it, you try to outrun it, but the wound is still there, festering in the dark. I am the great physician. I do not come to judge the wound. I come to heal it. I am close to the broken-hearted, and I save those who are crushed in spirit. You have spent so much energy trying to heal yourself. You have read the books. You have listened to the podcasts. You have tried to think positive, but deep down, the ache remains. That is because human effort can only treat the symptoms. Only my spirit can cure the disease. One moment in my presence can do more healing than years of striving on your own. One touch from me can close a wound that has been open for a decade. I invite you to bring that specific hurt to me right now. Do not be afraid to look at it. Do not be afraid to feel it for a moment in my presence. I am safe. I am the balm of Gilead. Let my love be the balm that soothes those painful memories. Imagine my love flowing over that wound like warm oil, softening the scar tissue, washing away the infection of bitterness. I desire to make you whole. I do not just want you to survive. I want you to thrive. I want to restore the years that the locusts have eaten. I want to give you beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, and the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness. Healing begins with a pause. It begins with you stopping long enough to let the physician work. It begins with you opening the wound to my light. Darkness is where the infection grows. Light is where the healing happens. So expose it. Tell me about it. Lord, this hurts. Lord, I am angry. Lord, I feel broken. I can handle your honesty. In fact, your honesty is the door through which my power enters. I command the spirit of trauma to loose its grip on you. I command the voice of rejection to be silenced by the voice of my acceptance. You are not damaged goods. You are not broken beyond repair. You are my masterpiece, and I am restoring you to your original design. Trust the process. Trust the surgeon's hand. It may hurt to open it up, but the relief that follows will be eternal. Let this minute be the moment the healing begins. Let this be the turning point where you stop bleeding and start recovering. My child, let us look at the architecture of your life. Why does it feel so unstable? Why does it feel like you are constantly juggling, constantly on the verge of dropping everything? It is because your foundation is out of order. You are trying to build the roof before you have laid the cornerstone. You have put your career first, your relationship second, your hobbies third, and you have fit me into the cracks that are left over. And then you wonder why your life feels chaotic. You wonder why you have no peace. I have given you a divine formula for stability, and it is this: seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added to you. Seek first, not second, not when you have time, not on Sunday mornings only. First, when you wake up, when you make a decision, when you spend your money, when you plan your day, when you put other things first, you invite disorder. You invite anxiety because you are asking things that are not God to hold the weight of your soul, and they cannot do it. Your job makes a terrible God. Your spouse makes a terrible God. Your bank account makes a terrible God. They will crumble under the weight of your worship. I am calling for realignment right now. I am calling for a correction of priorities. I want you to put me back on the throne of your heart. There is only room for one king on the throne. If you are sitting there, or if your worry is sitting there, then I am not. And if I am not king, then I cannot bring the kingdom's peace into your life. But when I am in first place, everything else falls into its proper place. When you honor me with your time, I bless the rest of your time. When you honor me with your first fruits, I bless the rest of your harvest. It is foolishness to gain the whole world and lose your own soul. What does it profit you to have the title, the house, and the applause, but to be spiritually bankrupt? You are chasing the wind, my child. You are chasing shadows while the substance is waiting for you to turn around. Wisdom is knowing what matters most. Wisdom is building your house on the rock, so that when the rains fall and the floods come, and they will come. Your house will stand. I invite you to make a choice today. Choose this day whom you will serve. Will you serve the tyranny of the urgent? Will you serve the idol of success? Or will you serve me? You cannot serve two masters. You will love one and hate the other. Stop trying to straddle the fence. Come over to my side completely. Give me the first 5 minutes of your day. Give me the first portion of your heart. Watch how the chaos subsides. Watch how the confusion lifts. When the king is back on the throne, the kingdom is at peace. Dethrone the idols. Reorder your life. Put me first, and watch how I take care of everything else that concerns you. My child, I need to correct a lie that the enemy has whispered to you. You often think of me as a taskmaster. You think of me as a stern judge who is always checking a list, always disappointed, always demanding more duty, more sacrifice, more rules. You think that coming to me means giving up all your fun, all your happiness, and living a life of boring solemnity. Oh, how wrong you are. You have listened to the father of lies instead of the father of lights. I am the source of all joy. I am the inventor of laughter. I am the creator of pleasure. In my presence is fullness of joy. At my right hand are pleasures forevermore. Do you hear that? Fullness of joy. Not a trickle. Not a drop. Fullness. The world offers you happiness, which is cheap and fleeting. Happiness depends on happenings. If the sun shines, you are happy. If it rains, you are sad. But my joy is a fountain that springs up from the inside. It does not depend on the weather. It does not depend on your bank account. It is a strength that defies circumstances. The joy of the Lord is your strength. You are weak right now because you are joyless. You are trying to survive on duty, and duty is a poor fuel. I want you to enjoy me. I delight in you. I do not just tolerate you. I love you.